Imagine all of trans knowledge in your hands. This is all of my advice from 2024, every helpful hint and thing I've Googled from all of last year that is the ultimate trans guidebook, I guess. Other videos are available from other people. This is just mine, and I thought it would be fun to have. Big video. Maybe you just need some background noise. Maybe you like me enough to give me the ad revenue. What's my credentials? I'm a trans. Hello, hi, I'm Summer Icky. You can tell by my summer haircut. Me and the homie are here. Me and Bolognese are here to make content. This video is about checks notes. How do I know that I'm trans? How do you know that you are trans? How does anybody know? People used to ask me a lot online because, you know, I've been an Instagram person for a while now. And I do a lot of ask question boxes because I think they're fun. And people would always ask me, like, how do you know? I think that you already know. I think there is a little voice in the back of your head that's telling you, and you already know. That's why you're doing this. And I think it isn't a question of how do I know? It's more a question of, can I accept this? I think even researching this, like, I don't know any cis people that have done this kind of research or have asked these kind of questions about their identity. I think even having the thought bumps you up a couple of percentage points, but it does not mean that you are, because it's completely okay to question yourself and your identity. The journey is different for everybody. Somebody who is very confident in the knowledge that they are trans and they discover it very quickly and they like find themselves and they do not ever look back does not take away from somebody who has a very confusing, very long-winded journey. Is that a word? Does not take away from somebody who has a long-winded journey where they do not figure anything out and they do not know themselves very well. Ahem. Finster. Genuinely, you can take me and Finn as an example of this. I discovered myself quite quickly. I say quickly. I spent about 23 years of my life not knowing what being trans is or what a transgender person is or does or thinks about. I spent a lot of time not understanding my gender, not understanding myself in social situations, not feeling comfortable in my body or my life or anything, really. And I never questioned it. I thought it was very normal. I thought it was normal to disassociate when you look at yourself for too long in a mirror. That's not normal. I missed a lot of clues because they're a lot easier to look at retroactively. I was dating somebody at the time and they proposed to me that maybe I'm trans. And I kind of was like, well, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna look into it. And I'd already started, I guess, cross-dressing, like in private, during lockdown. I was figuring stuff out. And I'd also already started doing like OnlyFans. So I was advertising on like Reddit and stuff. I stumbled across like Egg IRL, which is a subreddit where people who are eggs, which means when you're trans, it's like a denial phase. You are within your shell, you are safe, you've all seen Finsta, you know what an egg is. It started with like, wow, these memes are not relatable, but they're a little bit funny. And then it was like, oh wait, that one hits. And like, oh wait, this is my brain. You're just writing down words from my brain in a funny meme format. And I continued to feel personally attacked. I learned kind of what it is to be trans. From there, I saw like trans timelines and like, wow, that person like looks incredible in such a short amount of time. That's crazy, that can't be real. So I did a bunch of research, I looked into it, different types, all this stuff, and I was like, okay, this is slowly seeming more like something I'm experiencing. And still, I was not convinced, because you can read yourself to a T and still not think you're a part of that group, because it's scary and it's a huge change and all the social aspects to it are kind of a little bit terrifying. I was in lockdown during COVID, like a lot of us were. A lot of trans people were born during those like hours in lockdown where you had to really sit with your thoughts. And I had to leave my student accommodation to go live at home, and then because I was going to live at home, I could not freely express myself. I could not dress up. I could not try makeup. And that really hit. And it hurt so bad, way more than I thought it ever would. I started to wake up with like really horrible thoughts about myself where I like hated my body and I hated my face, I hated how I looked, and I hated my life. I caught a thought as it went through my brain, and I was like, okay, yeah, that means that. I was very unsure if I wanted this, and I was very unsure if I should go on HRT. And then I had a quick thought in the mirror. It flew past in my brain, and I snatched it out of the air and was like, this is more important than I'm giving it credit. I thought, even if I decide to take the HRT and I am wrong, if I'm not a woman and I've taken this drug, at least I'll have a female body. If you're thinking, at least, I'll be recognized as female, at least I'll be closer, at least I'll get to wear female clothes. Those are all signs, and it works, obviously, the other way. If I take testosterone, at least I'll have a male body. It's a big sign. It's not worth putting your life completely on hold because you're scared. You only get one. You only get one go. So you may as well, embrace the cringe for a little bit. All pink outfits, have to do the voice training, which, it can be easy if you just kind of do it the icky way of just learning one technique and then sticking with it for enough hours in your life that it becomes permanent. And you'll get there. You'll get to the other side. You'll learn how to dress. You'll learn makeup. All that stuff just takes time. But here's the good thing. If you decide, okay, I'm trans, you have the rest of your life to figure all that stuff out. You will be living as you, authentically, for the rest of your life. You will have a bunch of moments where you realize, this is great, and I'm glad I did it. And one of the best joys is when all of it is completely normalized, when your clothes are just clothes, when your makeup is just something you do to look nice, when your boobs are just there, everything becomes easy and normalized, and that's where all the best parts of life come from. When you can start focusing on other things, you can get healthier, you can go find that dream job you've been after, you can date and be in an enriching relationship because you became a person. Anyway, that's my indoctrination for this week. Maybe I'll try and indoctrinate you some more next week. But thank you for watching. I hope that this helped you figure anything out a little bit. Maybe go check out the subreddits that I mentioned and see if they twig anything in your brain. Or just accept that, if you've watched this video all the way to here, it's at least 70-30 that you are. I'm in the stream room. Oh my god. I kicked the door down and I got in. No pink chair, just the shitty chair. That's a corpse. I'm gonna talk about the subtlest, tiny little signs and symptoms that you might be a trans woman, maybe. And I have a glamorous assistant. But it's gonna help me. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna talk to you about these things. Maybe
why would I know
there'll
any?
be micro reactions that people can analyze. You're in an icky video again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Say something.
It feels very I don't know what to say.
Don't say that. I'm ready. Do you want to know a sign that you might be a trans?
Yeah.
I like it when people call them a trans.
A trans?
It's kind of really funny when people say that. This
Yeah.
was one of my subtle signs, and I didn't know that it was a sign. Playing as the girl character in video games, and D&D counts as a video game in this situation.
I played Minecraft when only the Steve skin was available, and
Yeah.
there's now like an Alex.
I'm just saying.
So I play as Steve.
I'm not
I got
grilling
my
you.
skin.
This is not an interview. I'm not trying to catch you out. I was simply just stating.
You.
But as counter evidence,
Yep.
would you like to load up your Call of Duty right now? I used to be like, at the time, pre-transition, I'm not a girl in real life, so why, I'll just play the girl character. I want to try something new. I did it in D&D. I did it in every game. Every time I played Pokemon, I'd pick the girl character.
Oh,
My
man.
Pokemon Go had a girl character.
That's a flag.
And then
That's not a red flag. That's a pink, blue, and white flag.
And I liked it, so I bought the premium. And now I'm here.
I feel like I had the opposite, where I was just like, I've got to pick the guy character because I'm a guy. In that
Yeah.
way. It was in my brain, for completely different reason. I was like, I can't. That's gay.
One of the things is I think it's on this list, a general aversion to anything feminine. So my thing.
Editor, take out what I said about the everything so far. I'd be like going to bed.
Yeah.
And I'd be sleeping in that one position that's like the one leg up thing where you're like laying on your front, and I would correct myself because that's
Sleep like
too
this.
feminine.
I didn't like my name. I thought Ashley was too girly.
It is girly. That's fucked up.
Thank you. I didn't grow my hair out.
Yeah.
I didn't try and wear I wore really baggy clothing or something. Anything that seemed too girly in some way. I had a real aversion to it. And I got told by a bunch of partners that I had really feminine mannerisms, and I was like, no.
No. There's nearly zero stereotypical feminine things that I genuinely like.
Really?
Yeah. This is the one exception.
This one is pretty obvious, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Trying on female clothing.
I don't know what that is.
Again, this is something I did that didn't make me question it.
You did,
I did it a couple times, and I was like, yeah, okay. I had this back in the brain desire
Yeah.
to just wear the clothes.
Right.
And when I put them on, I was like, okay, I'm not going to question this any further than this. I didn't know what trans people were.
But I waited until adulthood, so none of it would pop up in a big icky video later on in life.
There's a good chance you're transgender.
Oh.
You heard it here first.
Keep in
mind this is a difficult path. This is the path here on the road.
I genuinely don't know the first time, but one of my earlier, because it happened a lot, because people just did my makeup at school.
Yeah.
And then I went to a party, I got some shitty wig, it looked awful, and I was drunk the entire fucking time. It was great.
Was it a fancy dress party?
No.
One
What?
subtle sign that you might be trans is you decide that any party is a fancy dress party and you come in a wig and a dress.
It was not my choice. One of my friend said, yo, come, I've got this dress that's gonna fit you. Try it. I went, okay.
Every trans woman is extremely jealous right now. That
Why?
you had a friend be like, hey, come try this dress on. I said to a friend or something, I was like, I'm really jealous of women's fashion. They have so many more options. Guys just have t-shirt and jeans, and there's so many different things
You hit every flag for a bit. How did no one tell you?
Somebody did tell me eventually.
That's another
And you know
one.
what? Somebody told me because of some of the things that I've said earlier.
Yeah.
And then when I told my friends that I was transitioning, one of them was like, yeah, I always thought. I was like, what?
What? How? How did you know? Even though I always talk about it, and whenever the subject comes up, I give every flag saying that I'm trans. How did they know?
I didn't know anything about trans people or transitioning, so I was not clued in.
I like how fast you can go from I am a woman.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, bro.
Another one that is a sign that teenage you, young you, or as an adult, I don't know, because it can happen whenever. Growing your hair out. I'm sorry. You did this for boy reasons.
Yeah, no, I did it for COVID reasons, in all fairness.
Yeah.
I did it as part of a stream bit, so honestly, plausible deniability there.
Sometimes off stream, just day to day, Finn will grab a wrench or
Yeah.
a spanner and just use his hair to tie it up so he's just holding it there. If he doesn't have enough hands whilst he's working around the house, fixing cars.
Yeah, making engines and
Yeah.
shooting RPGs.
Before, I think it was a week or even a few days before I actually was okay, fine, I'm trans, I shaved my head.
That's didn't that as soon as you did realize, doesn't that
Yeah.
f you up?
Yeah.
You're like, damn, that's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
had long hair
strange.
before that. I had a fringe and stuff. It was really cringe.
That's what wait, what do you mean that's really cringe?
No,
Like,
it wasn't your hair. It was
Well-
emo hair.
Have you seen my old hair?
Yeah, it's cringe. Another one. If this also happened to me, having the thoughts of if I had a choice, if I was born again, if I, woke up the next morning, I'd be a girl. I genuinely said this to somebody and did not think it meant anything. Apparently I was a little bit tipsy and I told them yeah, if I had a choice, I would be a girl, of course I would. And they were like,
Wait, what?
I was like, what do you mean? That's normal.
That's fine.
That's fine. And they were like, and then I transed.
I've never had that.
Because of that conversation.
I've had it might be easier.
It's not.
It's not. I've had that. I've said it's probably way easier. You could probably
Really?
make way more money because I just started OnlyFans and then went, oh, I don't even have to. I don't even have to be a girl for that one. And then. Did you ever get asked by guy friends or something at the time before transition, oh, what would you do if you were had boobs? You ever get
No.
asked that? Oh, damn. I figured
Did
that'd be
you?
a good answer. Yeah.
What was your answer?
Well, my answer was stupid at the time. My answer would have just been like, look at him, bro.
If I looked at my face for too long in a mirror,
Yeah.
I would dissociate.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, I would be staring at myself, and then I would be like, I'm not this.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know how to
weird.
explain it. That's the easiest way to explain it. I'd be staring at myself like in the camera, like here, and if I did it for long enough, my brain would. I don't know. It's like out of body. You're like, I'm not. Like I'm the voice in my head, but I'm not this body. I don't have that anymore.
I should have that now. About me now.
Do you?
Yeah, I should be like giant. I should look down and see like the rock. Careful when you touch my arm just in case it
Yeah.
explodes. Like a anime. Don't do that. That looks so on camera. That was so exciting.
Ash, edit it bigger.
Yo.
This one is pretty general, but it is also a sign. Feeling weird around older men, or men in general.
What do you mean weird?
So, feeling like you don't fit in, feeling like it's a bit strange,
Weird.
feeling like you don't know how to interact with them. That's a big one. Like you don't know the culture, you don't know how to talk, you don't feel confident, you feel like shy, you don't know how to converse.
That's where you got me. I don't know how to do that with anyone.
That's a different thing.
I am autistic. Apparently.
Apparently.
Apparently, if you hit all the signs.
I had a meltdown before this video because I didn't know what was happening. It means nothing. Playing with girls' toys. That makes sense. I used to have brass dolls, but we were only allowed, my parents only let me have the boy ones.
I had Power Rangers and made them have sex with each other.
I used to take the clothes off of Action Man.
I was joking, by the way.
Oh really? I wasn't. Being trans is weird because all these like signs are like so obvious retroactively. I was like super busy in childhood having a bad one, so I didn't really like I was busy having a bad childhood, so I didn't acknowledge any of this stuff, and I didn't know what transiting was, and I didn't
True.
I had too much on. And then when you actually realize, you're like, oh all those things mean that.
People that stumbled across this video and watched it all the way to the end
Sorry.
that are not trans or thought so before the video ended.
That's a sign. I have a lot of people be like, I'm cis, I don't know why I'm watching this. Yeah, you do. Now you do.
You ever looked at the stats on TikTok of what the male and female
Yeah,
audience is?
yeah. I wonder if it
Trust that.
changes over time.
Like over time, you skip forward like a year and that 50-50 male female is like 90-10.
Asha, add in trans hypnotism right now.
Yeah, okay, bye thigh highs.
Thank you for watching the video.
Untrue.
If you have any of these signs and symptoms, go to your local priest.
Bye.
Okay, now. Go back to your kennel. Good boy.
There's no
Good
lights
boy,
in
come
there.
on, boy. Sleep time.
There's no
Nighttime.
oxygen in there.
Make sure you go pee first. I'm not very prepared. You're gonna have to bear with me. It's football day. It is coming home. I am talking today about... I've forgotten. What's the title again? Yes, you. You already know that you are trans. You already know. Whilst I get ready... Wait. Whilst I film this video, I'm gonna do my makeup. It's like a get ready with me. It's a two birds with one stone. It's a I'm quite busy and I gotta pack two things together and I don't have time to film tomorrow and I've just got back from Paris and bear with me. This video is about the hundreds of messages that I receive from people asking me,
How do I know if I'm trans? Or I think that I might be.
and obviously I've already made a video about this. How do I know that I'm trans? How do you know that you are trans? How does anybody know?
It's easy. Don't worry. Your girlfriend will tell you.
This is different. I'm going to talk about the key element of that video that I only mentioned briefly, which is that you already know. In the question of am I or am I not trans, you do already know the answer when you're posing the question. The thing that you are getting stuck on is whether it's the right thing for you, whether you'll regret it, whether you can just accept that. Accepting like, I'm trans, my life has to change, is 100 times harder than actually knowing whether you are or you're not. Now, I don't want this to be like super inflammatory, and I also don't want it to be like,
She's saying that you have to be trans and you can't express gender identity and you can't make mistakes.
you definitely can, but I know that there is a key difference between exploring a gender identity and figuring out what's right for you and having that am I trans question. Oh, I'm just layering it on. Oh my god. I do not feel very functional today. I've never actually spoken whilst doing makeup. Usually I just sing songs. So this is going to be very interesting. Okay, I'll give you an example so you can better understand what kind of demographic I'm thinking about when I say these things. Hey, Icky, I feel like I'm a woman inside. Like, I don't mind being a guy, but as a woman, I'm actually happy and I've experienced joy for the first time ever. I don't know if I'm trans. How do I know if I'm trans? Being trans is very, very complicated. There's no particular box that you have to tick. So I understand that it can be complicated. How are you supposed to know if there's like so many variables, or it's just like so open-ended? You can have dysphoria, you can have euphoria, you can not have those things. You can be very comfortable in your assigned birth gender and still be trans. I think that if you experiment with your gender and you get so much joy from it and so much energy and life that you come to my content and you watch through all my content and then you decide like,
I just need to message.
that you already know, it's easier to have somebody else tell you than have it be something that comes from yourself from within. That happens with a lot of things. Things like ASD or ADHD. You kind of want like a doctor to tell you you are this thing, to confirm it so that you know that you're not making it up. And that doesn't really happen with being trans. It's just not a done thing. Like, friends and community can tell you that they think that you are, but nobody really knows except you. Like, having to come to terms with something yourself, it sucks. It's like kind of one of the hardest stages of transitioning. Taking HRT is easy. Growing boobs is easy. They hurt though. Telling your friends and family, that's difficult. But what's even more difficult is accepting it yourself and being like, okay, I have to come to terms that I am this thing going forward. I have to change my whole life and I have to tell my friends and family, and that is my decision. That's hard, that's difficult, it takes bravery. It's a lot easier to just sit and pretend and say that you're not, that it's just an expression. But I think some people really, really know that they are this thing. They are trans, they are a woman or a man, and they want to transition. They need to, but they kind of just want that, like, someone to tell them, that push. Mom, this YouTuber told me that I'm trans, so I'm gonna transition now. That's like right-wing, like, rhetoric. I already made a video where I talk about, can transitioning be a fetish? Because that is a thing that gets brought up when people are like, no. I do think this thing, but maybe it's just a fetish. That is like the last line of defense. Like, I've never heard of that being a thing. I've never heard of anybody going through with something that intense just for like sexual gratification, because it gets boring really quickly. It's difficult. It's not something that you're gonna be like, oh, this is so sexy. I'm waiting at my GP to talk to them. I'm having a phone call with my doctor to ask them to put me on the HRT waiting list. This is so sexy. Now, I'm doing blush in a C shape. C shape. Hell yeah. I learned this at like a Gucci seminar for their makeup that I got invited to. I'm doing, what am I doing right now? Contour, which is new for me because I haven't been doing this for a while, so I'm bad at it. For me, I knew it for a lot longer than I was willing to admit. After like being able to explore in my like student accommodation, I was able to like dress up and explore gender identity, and then I had to go home because of lockdown. And as soon as I couldn't explore my identity, I got depressed and really hateful of my body, and I woke up one morning really hating myself and how I looked, and then I was like, oh, it like clicked, and I was like, that's not normal. And that is like the conscious decision, but I knew in the back of my head for a lot longer. I had a partner at the time that I basically, I guess I didn't want to disappoint. I didn't want to scare them because I was gender fluid for a little while, really short amount of time. We would talk about it in a way that's like, oh, maybe you are, or what if you are, what would we do and stuff. And I'd be like, nah, it's not, like, I'm probably not, like, I don't think I am. And in the back of my head, I would be like, no, I think that I am. Like, I would say like, I want to be a guy still. And my head would be like lying. So yeah, that like back of the head voice knew for a lot longer than I let myself know. You just have to trust that little voice and it knows best for you. It's like a gut feeling, but in your brain. I wonder if we were in a better social climate, a better environment for trans people, it would be a lot easier for people to come out. It wouldn't be so difficult. They wouldn't need like outside reassurance basically, because, you know, it's kind of like putting yourself at risk. Even me as like a huge advocate for transitioning and that it's like life-saving and life-changing, it's still like a risk to, especially now in 2024, to decide to come out and transition. Is like family and friends are going to be worried about your safety more than anything else, which sucks. And I really, really hope it changes. I'm not going to like settle on the doom and gloom there. I am like so much happier since transitioning. As soon as I decided to, happiness went up. I have not suffered with depression since, at least not long term, or I've not suffered socially. Even when it's difficult, I would not change it for anything. I have never once regretted it. Even like dysphoria and all the social climate and I lost like one family member, all the difficult stuff, I still would not go back and change it because I just feel so right. I feel so normal. I feel like a person, and before I did not feel like a person. Maybe that's another way of figuring it out. If you are asking whether, oh, I might be trans or not, do you currently feel like a person? Do you currently feel functional and fulfilled? Do you feel happy? Do you feel like you make good interpersonal connections? Do you feel like life on the other side after transitioning could be better? And you gotta remove all your societal views of what better means. I'm not talking about like chivalry, of like people opening doors for you or thinking you have it easier or any weird stuff like that. I'm just talking about, would you be happier in your day-to-day in the most boring situation that you could possibly imagine? Think about going to the bank or the post office and it's incredibly boring and you're pissed off because it's taking too long and you have to go and do something else. It's dull. It's an average daily experience. Would that be improved by being ma'amed? Or being sad, by being perceived as something different to what you are currently? Then that is also another big tip, because I think it's a lot easier when you're like, you know, had the thing that I had where it's like you hate yourself or like mental health issues or you're struggling socially or those ones are quite obvious, but sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it is literally like you're doing well with friends and family, you're doing well in work, you don't really hate yourself. It's more just like, what is more fulfilling? What is more natural? What feels like it is you? Honestly, how much I have been struggling to do two things at once should just be the poster for ADHD medication. I've got this like goop. I genuinely have no idea. It's like eyeshadow, but it's going on my lips. It's just to make them slightly more appealing. Thank you, Tank. Hell yeah, I did it. I managed to do two things at once, which is apparently very difficult when you're medicated. I hope this video helped in some way. I hope that I actually managed to get my point across. Sometimes people ask me for like advice on their like life and transitioning and stuff. I can't really reply to them. I do feel bad and I do read them, but hopefully the videos help because they are my way of being able to connect a little bit and getting some advice. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna watch football now. I'm sick right now. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be in bed, pleasantly sipping tea, and move the camera so that I can sit comfortably and we can have a pleasant chat as friends, with one of the friends being sick. I want to talk about a trans femme starter kit. Everything that I wish I had known when I started my transition. All the things that I wish I had known to buy, or what to do, or how to do them. Too hot? It's too hot, I can't do it. I'm taking it off. I'm sorry. We're talking hair care, skin care, clothes, small little knickknacks that you need in your life to make your life easier. What else did I write down? Products to buy, essentials, general advice. I wrote things down this time. Going from male to female can be really intense if you grew up with absolutely no knowledge of girly things, of feminine things. If you didn't have sisters that would, you know, show you that stuff, or your mum would talk to you about those things. If you were a boy or you had boy siblings, you were expected to be boy and you weren't really allowed, or it was frowned upon to kind of seek out more feminine things. So there's a lot of stuff that can feel incredibly overwhelming. You decide to transition, tell your friends, tell your family, and now it's kind of like a little bit embarrassing to have to try and do those things that you spent your whole life kind of trying to avoid consciously. Being a baby trans femme, like just starting your journey, it kind of can be a little bit stereotypical. There is the jokes about the pink outfits. You kind of go max girly pretty early on, which isn't bad. It's kind of what happens during like female teenhood anyway. It's just kind of us finding our feet, and then that's fine. So some of the advice that I give will be kind of geared towards that. So it might seem a little bit stereotypical for me to say, buy a skirt or something, because you don't have to have a skirt to be a woman, but you're gonna have to just bear with me because a lot of you will want that. When I started my transition, I was very much what I perceived femininity to be. And then as I grew and got comfortable in my body, my skin, as I like got further into my transition, I was just more me, and it felt more normal, and I just liked whatever I liked, and that core womanhood was there at the center, and then anything else was just things that I liked. But at the very start, it was definitely like, how can I max my feminine stat? How can I max my girliness? That's fine. It's like a little protective barrier that helps you, and that's kind of what this is going to be helpful for. Quick fire round right now. Essential items that I think you're going to need to make your transition easier going from male to female. Tweezers, nail kits, eyebrow shavers, hair ties, hair grips, claw clips, face masks. All of those, write them down. These are essentials that you need past the baby trans phase. These are things that you should have just to make your life easier. But they're going to be essential at the very start because you will not have them most of the time, and it will be kind of overwhelming. I have curated a few items that you can purchase on Amazon into a little list. And I think I called it like Trans Femme Essentials. And then you can go and purchase the things that I have there. It helps me out, definitely. But it's also like an easy way to see all of the things that you might need that you maybe haven't thought about. That's like a addition to this video. When I started my transition, I didn't have tweezers because I'd never had to pluck my eyebrows. I didn't have a nail kit really. I had like nail clippers, that's it. I didn't have the rest of the stuff that you need to file your nails or anything like that. I definitely didn't have an eyebrow shaver. I had short hair, so I had no need for hair ties. Hair grips I didn't have, and it took me ages to figure out what they even were. And it was embarrassing because I didn't have to use them for a really long time. Claw clips are those they're like a little chompy monster mouth, and they kind of clip. I loved those. I use those to tie my hair up for like exercise or washing my face. Face masks, I didn't have a skincare routine. So why would I have a face mask? I didn't even know what that was. I think skin and hair care are very difficult when you first start your transition because it can be really overwhelming. So we're gonna do a very basic thing so you kind of know a little bit more about, the general, what should I do? And then you can develop it and build it yourself from there, because I'm not gonna do everything for you, unfortunately. You will have to do a little tiny bit of research. But the basic, wash your hair once or twice a week, depending on your hair type, your skin color, and your hair, I've forgotten how to talk, the greasiness of your hair. You kind of know your hair way better than I'm ever gonna know your hair. And like your race, like I mentioned, can affect like how often you should wash your hair or the type of hair that you have. So you do have to know that bit first, but then usually, on average, in general, 1 to 2 times a week, really. And you wash with shampoo and conditioner. If you want to wash more than that, maybe just use conditioner, which is something called a co-wash, where you don't have to use shampoo because shampoo dries your hair out, and that helps keep your hair clean, but like doesn't destroy it any more than like once or twice a week, depending on hair type. Can destroy your hair. Any less can just make it greasy and not very attractive. Even more, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing right now. Even more difficult is skincare, because it can feel really overwhelming and you can feel like you need like hundreds of weird gadgets. Like those things that you roll over your face. You need like very basic, a daily exfoliant or a weekly exfoliant, self-explanatory, and a face wash. And then after that, you dry your face, pat it dry gently, and you put on like moisturizer. That's the absolute bare minimum. You can build your routine from there. I would say a toner, a moisturizer, and some kind of serum is like a very basic skincare routine. You can get as insane with your skincare as you want. You can go even more You can do like a billion products. You can have a 40-minute routine. My routine is a little bit American Psycho. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's like 100 different things that I go into it. I have a daily exfoliant, which is like a gentle exfoliant to kind of cleanse my pores. I have a face wash, pore spray, a toner, a moisturizer, a serum. It used to be way bigger. That's actually kind of chill.
Are you sure about that?
I wrote down some helpful hints from past Icky who had a brain and wasn't sick. Retinol oil, awesome. You gotta start slow with retinol oil because it can hurt your skin and kind of break you out. But it's really great. Use it at night. Do not use it in the day because it makes your skin more sensitive to the sun and it can damage you. I know you're thinking about it. Don't do it. Another thing that I just thought of that I wish I knew initially. Buy ankle socks. These. Buy these. They're smaller. Oh my god, let me do that differently. They're shorter, they come around your ankles. Ankle socks. Buy those because if you just have the kind of regular, what I would consider boy socks, they don't match your outfits. You know, your legs are going to be on display or the trousers are going to be slightly too short and cropped. Buy the ankle socks because the boy socks ruined it, and I wore them for so long when I shouldn't have because I didn't have any. There's no real like essential clothing besides like, you know, a little bra early on, like a little bralette that can help you kind of, you know, get a bit of shape and, you know, it's less awkward in public, and ankle socks, essential. Maybe a nice flowy dress to make you feel better, but that is kind of a personal thing. You could just wear big baggy t-shirts for the rest of your days and you're still gonna be a woman. Buy a handbag because you do not realize how much stuff you have and you're not gonna have any pockets anymore. Buy a handbag, they're essential. Mine is filled to the brim, mostly with trash, but they're helpful. I think another trans femme essential, which is gonna be different for everybody, but it's worth hearing anyway, is probably therapy. Transitioning is super hard. There's a lot of changes. Trans women specifically are targeted a ton in the media and in comedy, and it can just be really overwhelming. And it helped me a ton to align my kind of brain and body by having some therapy, and it probably would help you too. You feel more confident, you feel more at one with yourself and less affected by all the nonsense that you hear in the news and on TV and blah, blah, blah. These last 2 videos have been kind of rough because I've been moving and I was sick. Hopefully eventually I will be well enough to try and we'll have videos of substance again. I'm also gonna try streaming. Wish me luck. It's Finn's birthday tomorrow, so I'm gonna go and prepare for the birthday. We're having a little picnic in the house. Thank you. I am not ready for the big reveal. I am staying up here at the top of the frame very specifically because today's video is about improving baby trans outfits. If you don't know what a baby trans outfit is, it's a very, very feminine, overtly feminine, usually not age-appropriate outfit. There is nothing wrong with the baby trans outfit, okay? It's just a bit of fun. This video is just a bit of fun. If you have seen my other videos about the baby trans phase, or you just feel your fashion is maybe leaving that like experimentation phase where you're being really, really feminine, if you think you're leaving that and you want more mature or just like kind of everyday outfits, I'm gonna help you out with this video. I'm gonna show you a baby trans outfit that I'm wearing, and I'm gonna make it better. Also, I'm medicated. This is a medicated video. It took me so long to film this video because this is my first day of medication. Okay, are we ready? Oh my god. Okay, for real, right? I put this picture on Instagram. Nobody said anything. Nobody said, hey, what the f? Have you been taken by a body snatcher? Nobody cared. They were like, you look so cute. And I get it. You all are so sweet and nice and supportive, but... So obviously, there is nothing wrong with this outfit, you know?
Are you sure about
Okay, wait. There are things wrong with the outfit, but you can wear whatever you like, whenever you like. It's not that this is particularly wrong, it just could be better. I want to show you how to kind of make it more grown up, more mature, more fashionable, and I think keeping the same kind of theme. So the idea of the baby trans outfit is kind of to like really maximize femininity. You want the little skirt because it flares out at your hips you want the tight t-shirt or the crop top to kind of make this top half feel a bit smaller. Unintentionally can do the opposite, where it makes it quite bulky, which I feel like is what's going on for me right now. And then these are just the programmer socks. They're just kind of essential, I guess. It's not that any one item is particularly awful. It's just they're not really in the right ensemble. This is a very kind of teenage outfit, and at the minute it's kind of like an online like femboy outfit. The first thing that I would do to really bring this into like a more of a normal outfit is I'm sorry, but it's to get rid of these. I think actual black like thigh-high socks, knee-high socks, that makes it a little bit more mature. You know, I know it's fun being colorful and like blue or pink or like trans black. It's very eye-catching. If that's what you're going for, that's fantastic. Like, just go for it. But if you're kind of unintentionally doing that and you don't want to continue doing that, maybe just go for black or gray or beige or more of like a neutral tone. I think that the kind of vibe that we're going for with the socks is like really highlight the legs of the wearer. The socks like automatically make you feel like your legs are more feminine. I feel like already the black kind of just makes it a little bit more fashionable, a little bit more mature, but we are going to go a step further. I have a secret. They're just socks. Those are actually what your legs look like when they are tight to your body. So just go for ankle socks. They look really feminine, more of like a grown-up thing to wear than like a knee-high sock. They suit lots of different styles of trainers, and they just look cute. They really show off your legs. I'm not gonna lie, I already feel like I could go outside. You know, I feel pretty slay. I feel a bit more normal, and like people would stare at me less. Dressed kind of, you know, with the socks, with my actual legs out. Small break whilst I take my puppy out. Please come with me to take my puppy out. Hey, buddy. Go. I've had a realization that the one thing that I cannot take away from the trans community is the skater skirt. I can't be the person to take this away from the outfit, so I'm gonna keep it in the outfit and kind of build around it. I think the next thing to do is I want to replace the baby tee, which I think is cute. I don't like the print, but it's cute, but it's making my shoulders quite wide. It's kind of flaring out here, and it's, you know, it's not doing me any favors. So I'm gonna change it for a tank top. I am very biased because I really like tank top, but I think it would be cute. Now this stage really depends on like comfortability, because this kind of looks like a leotard. It's pretty bland, and you know, you really can see my shoulders. I don't really care about my shoulders. I like them a lot. So I would think that this is cute, but it looks like I work out, which I do. But obviously you could go for something contrasting and have like thicker kind of straps up here, which kind of hide your shoulders a little bit. I will show you this because I don't like it because it doesn't give me any shape. I think the whole point of the crop top was to kind of give you extra shape and like make this area smaller. This still does that, but it really removes my shape entirely. These work a lot better with jeans. I kind of wish I could turn the skirt into jeans, but I said that I'd stick with it, and by God, I'll stick with it. To remove accusations of cheating, I used Jude's wardrobe. You could have something like this, just a casual fitted tank top. I don't like this one, it's really tight on me. I feel like I can't breathe. I'm gonna get my own. You can still get that shape, but this does rely more on actually like having hips and kind of exercising. I think honestly, I would go for this one. I'm gonna stand all the way back in the corner. Can you actually see? Look, I might be medicated, but I am not professional, okay? I actually kind of like this one. I feel like the baby trans fit is not really about showing off this area of your body. It's kind of about showing off these. So I'm still killing it on that front. I'm still showing off my leg. I'm just gonna get out of my system, okay? Because I keep thinking about what I would do, and I don't think that's helping, so this is what I would do. I would get the big coat, I would get the shoes that cover the socks, the weird shoes, I would get a chain, a pretty bag, which I didn't have, and a hat. And that would be my version of this outfit, which I feel like has really gone off the rails from what it was supposed to be. But what should you do? I think that you personally would want something a bit more normal, because I did say that, and this is a tiny little bit like, you know, she's trying to be in a magazine or something. I think that this should be a nice, pretty shirt. Just looks more grown up, more adult, more fashionable, more like chic and stylish and timeless. You know, obviously if you're insecure about your shoulders or you think your ribs are wide or just all the silly brainworms, you can kind of mitigate that by having like a stylish little shirt because it comes in at the side, because it's a fitted shirt for women. It comes in at the side and it does showcase where that waist actually is and where how all of this is just sexy legs. If you're thinking, like, Icky, it does not seem like you have planned this outfit. It does not seem like you have like really thought about the outfit before we did this video and you just kind of winged it. I did wing it. This is what I do when I pick my outfits. I don't really plan them in advance unless I have a really cool idea in my head. I usually pick like one piece that I would want to wear. So in this case, it's this trans skater skirt. I decided like, I want to wear this, I want to build the outfit around it. And then really, it's just trial and error. I mentioned it in a previous video that it's like trial and error for finding outfits in stores, like pieces that you like and like pieces that fit. It's the same thing here. You have to try them on, you have to see what matches, because sometimes, honestly, you could like be really surprised by what you find. I'm gonna pick you up, I'm gonna put you over here. If you're not feeling like tight clothing, you go for a baggy jumper. If the jumper's cropped and it kind of just sits like above the skirt, it can really work. Because it's very casual, it's, you know, it's comfortable, and it's very feminine. You can go out the house, no one will bat an eye except to go, damn, she's kind of cute. There are a lot of combinations outside of the basic baby trans outfit that you can use to kind of elevate your fits a little bit. Don't be afraid to mix it up. Go for baggy, go for tight fitting, go for loose. Try lots of different things. I know that the baby trans outfit is definitely a rite of passage and it's very fun to wear in the first few months. But if you feel like you're getting a little bit bored and you want to move on, just experiment. I think something important to remember is the further you get into your transition, the more years you get in, the more you should test yourself, the more you should push your boundaries. You should go to a store and you should be like, okay, now I think I could go for some crop things. I was in a very baggy phase, and recently I've been thinking like, I need to add more crop things to my wardrobe because I keep putting on these outfit combinations and it was missing, like, I would look snatched. I would look so cool, so pretty if I just had this little crop t-shirt, stuff that I've been putting off because I didn't think I could wear it because of my body type, which has changed tremendously since I've been on HRT. Honestly, it is so cool to leave a room and to be able to remember what I'm saying, like what I was thinking, what I'm gonna say next. That doesn't leave at the door anymore. Crazy. I will make it my life's mission to get that office set up to take videos in, because damn, it sucks. I want to be able to take videos in the nice room with like the closed hanger rail thingy that I have. I hope this helped a little bit. If you like the fashion videos, please comment and make me do more of them because I love them. I hope this helped you kind of understand how to play with your outfits, and honestly, just tag me in your elevated baby trans fits on Instagram or Twitter or wherever. I would love to see them if you go through with it. Thank you. Oh, that's not straight. Oh, it is straight. That's not straight. That's the average thought process of people seeing me and Finn. Today, I would like to talk about how to put together outfits, kind of. It's not like gonna be super intense because I'm not in my new house. I don't have a nice area to like show clothes and show examples, but I can show examples with photos. I wanna kind of help you put together outfits that complement you and help you out in your transition. Now, I'm gonna preface this by saying I personally believe that trans flaws are not as much of a problem as people like to think that they are. I think that they are just human variants. My shoulders are bigger than my hips. It's just not something to really worry about. I know that dysphoria is all-encompassing, but I just think that personally, it is a little bit safer to battle the brain thoughts rather than try to obliterate the body and make yourself feel bad. Anyway, first of all, you need to kind of find your problem areas. So the areas of your body that you dislike. I made a video talking about the 2/3 rule. 2/3 of your outfit is kind of one piece, and then 1/3 is another piece. So if you can split your silhouette into that 2/3, 1/3, you will have an attractive outfit. The stage before that. Before you can decide what you want to wear, you need to decide what you're trying to achieve if you're trans. not just if you're trans, that was a misstep. Cis women do this too. This advice wouldn't exist if not for cis women. It's not just for trans women. But anyway, this is a trans channel. I am so tired. It took me so long to get the puppy to sleep. It was like an hour before I even started the video. Blech. Obviously you have the whole bone thing, but more importantly is kind of the muscles and the fat that, as a, trans woman that's gone through male puberty, you won't really have the same shape as a cis woman, but it's not the end of the world. It is something that you can change. Obviously, genetic variance, big thing, depends on your genetics. You could be curvier than a cis woman. It is human variation, but on average, you'll probably have less development around kind of, I'd say like this area here. And on the back of your butt, I can show you my butt, there will be less fat than with a cis woman. And you can change this with clothing or with exercise. Strength training is huge. I use it. My butt has grown. Here is a before and after. You can see back of my ass, it's just filling out slightly. Hell yeah. Finding problem areas. My problem areas are my shoulders. They are wider than my hips, so I count that as a problem area. And the way that I handle this, most of the time, is to wear something flared at my hips. So I talked about this on TikTok way back when I started my TikTok. But, you haven't seen that, it doesn't matter. The best way to appear more shapely, more curved, more defined, is to flare your hips with something like a mini skirt. A lot of trans women wear the skater skirt for that very reason.
This is the first thing that most of you ever bought.
Or like a oversized pair of like joggers or trousers, jeans, something that kind of gives you more bulk. If you're going to choose a mini skirt, which you probably will, make sure you wear it around this area here. This is your waist now. Not here where these trousers are. This is your old waist. This is your new waist up here. So obviously this is kind of a big thing with trans women. This is like the main problem, is like wanting your hips to be wider. So a lot, like I mentioned, a lot of trans women go for mini skirts, but you can have sufficient widening with jeans. You just kind of need to oversize your jeans. Go for like a Y2K and 90s kind of vibe where they're baggy and they kind of give that form of like just bulky. They bulk it out. So for this example, you have found your problem area, which is your hips, and you have decided that a bulky joggers or skirt or whatever is your option. So you need to then move on to reducing shoulders. The best way to kind of make a juxtaposition between big, bulky or wide hips and your torso is to wear something tight. Like I have on now, like a tank top, a tight t-shirt, something form-fitting. And it kind of produces that balance. It makes this area look smaller and your lower half look bulkier. And then the shoulders. You can hide them, or you can be a bad bitch and you can keep them out. Because if you can balance your body so that, your skirt is flaring, your midi skirt, your, large skirt, baby tiny trans woman skirt that is very risky, it can balance out your body and you can just have your shoulders out and no one's gonna know anything or think anything. You look great, trust me. Or you can kind of cheat if you're feeling insecure and you can wear a hoodie. And then you put this hoodie or a jacket, a crop jacket. A crop jacket would be cute because it would match the mini skirt. But then this hides your shoulders. The bulkiness of the jacket kind of it removes the idea that your shoulders are creating the form and that it's just the jacket doing that. And if you wear a jacket and it makes you a bit top heavy, that's what a jacket is supposed to do. And it kind of helps with confidence and helps with not feeling like you stand out. Alternatively, you could wear shapewear. Either shapewear that pulls in your midsection so that you have more of like that hourglass shape, or you could wear shapewear that gives you kind of fake hips or fake boobs or any of that stuff. Do not feel bad about that, because that is made for cis women. It's not made for you. They're made for cis women that are insecure. The whole female market is for insecurity and bettering yourself, and it applies for trans women the same as cis women. The shapewear will be in most stores that sell underwear. They will have like the hip forms or the boob forms or the butt forms. And that's the quickest way to feel safe in public. I think the hardest thing with that is to feel like you're cheating, but that's stupid, and safety is priority. I would say safety, and then kind of figuring out your brain so you're not, being as harsh on yourself about just natural features, and then altering. I would not recommend a BBL, but you can do you. It is very dangerous. It's one of the most dangerous, like, cosmetic surgeries, which is a bit freaky. But, I'm not your mum. Exercise, strength training, killer. It really does help. Losing weight, like exercising, cardio, being healthy, gives you like more of an inwards waist shape, especially if you've got your hormones in the female range for a long enough time. And then strength training, there's that kind of myth that you'll become bulky or too big. That is not going to happen. That is incredibly hard. You would have to try and become a bodybuilder. If you just do like standard, like, decent strength training where you do like lower body, upper body, and then a full body day, you will just grow your muscles in a way that is uniform, and you can have like a leg focus. I like to do more lower body exercises than upper, and that is adding muscles that weren't there. It's giving me shape that wasn't there before, and that has been a huge confidence boost. Targeting specific muscles, which are I can't remember what they're called because I'm not that smart, but the muscles on the sides of your body. The outside, not the inside. A lot of leg exercises target the inside of your hips, but you want the outside of your hips. And those are very specific exercises like hip abductions, and they really, really do help. Things to avoid, specifically for the kind of hips problem area. You should avoid bodycon dresses that are very tight to you and they have no flare. They're just, straight down. Those rely on your body providing the shape of the dress, and if you're not quite there yet, it's not going to make you feel very good. So avoid things like that. Avoid tight jeans. You want to avoid things that kind of accentuate your shoulders. People would say that like tank tops accentuate your shoulders, but it really depends on the type, and it depends on your hairstyle. There are a bunch of different things. I think the best thing to do is to try clothes on and see what works for you. This is what I did. It's what I still do. I try certain styles of clothing on and I go, okay, I can wear that. I can wear the bodycon dress now, or I can wear this tank top. I can wear this tight t-shirt, or I can't wear that. There's a bunch of stuff that is just not for me. I think the best way to find a really good outfit for you is to go through your wardrobe, try stuff on, and see what suits your body. And when you go shopping for clothing, try a variety of styles. So tank top or t-shirt or, button-up shirt, and try them in different sizes. Because a big oversized t-shirt is really nice, but a medium-sized t-shirt doesn't suit me very well. It comes to a really weird stage on my body where it doesn't fit the 2/3 rule properly. It makes me look like a block. But a tight t-shirt can make me look really good. So I usually go for either really baggy or really form-fitting, because I tried it on in the store and I saw like, oh, this is way nicer. And I think that you would be surprised. Like you can think you're a medium or a large or whatever, and you try the smaller one because you were like a little bit into your transition now, you haven't realized, and it fits you nicer. Your body is moving at a faster pace than your brain realizes. You'll have changes that you won't even have noticed, that you'll only really see when you start to explore more like feminine clothing or form-fitting clothing, or just trying more stuff. Honestly, I've kind of rambled on about the one problem area this whole video, so I feel like I'm just gonna leave it at that. If there are other problem areas I should talk about, I feel so bad calling it a problem area because it's not. But I understand where it comes from. If there are other areas like that you feel that you would need help with, if there's enough of a buzz about it, then I will do a little video talking about other areas. Off the top of my head, I can't really think about anything. The most common problem is like, how do I make my hips bigger? How do I reduce my shoulders? Which hopefully I have helped with just a little bit. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, there will be more fashion stuff. In a few months, when I move into the new house, it will be a focus. We'll be talking about my brand and like how it's building and how I'm getting all the samples and making it ready, blah, 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 the things I'm looking for. And I'll be trying to do more like long form fashion helpful videos like I started with TikTok, but I was gonna say more coherent, but they will probably be less coherent because I am not particularly very coherent. Like you transitioned.
Funny you say that.
Hello everybody watching this video, everyone in the world, hi. Come say hi.
Hello world.
This is Finster's coming out day. We're filming on the coming out day.
Yeah, I stream in like a few hours.
Yeah, this is a big moment for me. Do you know how much content I could have made? How many TikToks, how many funny reels, how many YouTube videos I could have made?
I'd say out of everyone today, this is your big day.
This is my big day. If you didn't know, Finster, I make helpful videos for trans people. And you do know because Finn is my #1 biggest fan and watches all my videos.
Wait a second. I can finally do this now. So if you're trans, then
I want to talk about the early changes of HRT, what to expect, what happens, and I want to talk about your personal experiences. Tell us everything.
my nipples hurt so bad all the time.
Skin changes.
I had such awful acne.
Me too.
When I started doing like better skincare,
Yeah.
it cleared up all my
Yeah.
face. The only thing that estrogen specifically changed is like chest spots.
Yeah. What about the firmness of your skin? So soft.
Oh, it is soft. It's less.
Your skin gets softer
Yeah.
because the fat is right under it
Yeah.
instead of deeper in your organs.
There was this really specific moment when like, I think I was probably like a few months in, this like here felt like a woman's chest. It was very
It's
like,
cool. It's so strange.
yeah.
You have got more feminine, and that
I don't think so.
cringe.
Can you, hey, Asher, can you make like one of those Andrew Tate edits? I tried. Hold on.
It's so tiny.
Because weirdly enough, I've gotten weaker, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't notice it by looks. Like my muscle
Oh, you-
mass is
yeah.
pretty much the same thing. Why'd you smile?
Didn't smile.
you like nearly giggled at me. Because you have less arm muscle than me if you looked at it,
Yeah.
but you're stronger than me, which is odd.
Okay, you don't need strength to work in the kitchen.
Why do you get permission to use those types of jokes?
The #1 gender affirming thing is sexist jokes.
Like, can I make them still?
No.
I feel like I should be able to make them
No,
more.
because you're gender fluid. So when you make the sexist joke, it's just from a really bad place.
You don't know. I
You
can
don't get
change
to
on a whim.
You don't get to do that.
Watch. Kiss me. You're gay. you're a fucking lesbian now.
What do you rate the skin changes?
8.5 out of 10. I bruise.
Oh my god, yeah, that's another one.
Oh.
You bruise easy.
I fell downstairs a month ago and I've still like, got a mark on my
Really?
thigh. Yeah. It's
Oh my
still
God.
like, it's not like a bruise, but you can still notice. My defense stat is down.
What about fat changes? Like specifically, because
what-
early on, fat changes mostly in your face and around your eyes and this area here.
I can notice now, like looking back, that it's not like
It's
a
very hard to
day-to-day.
notice it when you're living it. But you've
Yeah.
changed so much.
Really?
You look so different. Look in the camera right now. I've seen those like weird lesbian photos of you
Oh,
where
yeah.
you've got short hair and you just look a bit odd. You've changed so much. Sometimes I just stare at you and I'm like, woman talking.
My nose got smaller. It got thinner.
Yeah, no, that's a thing.
What
and your
the
lips will
fuck?
get a bit bigger and your cheeks will get plumper.
Oh, the lips thing happened immediately.
This
It
is the
changed.
dick you're sucking. Then had to leave to go do something right in the middle of recording. If I had an ad, this would be a great place for an ad read. I don't have an ad. Hey Asher, this is a ridiculous ask, right? But Finn's about to come in and we'll go back to talking. Can you make him tiny? Can you somehow make him really small in the chair? A new one on the list. Right, let's go. Sweat and odor changes.
I didn't notice it. Did
No
you?
noticed?
Do I smell?
I think you smell feminine.
You want to try something?
What?
That box is filled with like my old clothes.
Really?
Yes.
Like in a gross way?
Yes.
What's... I've heard about this box.
It's been in there for like 3 years.
Okay, do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah?
Alright.
We're gonna open the box.
Here's my joggers.
I don't want to smell these.
Okay.
Nothing that's been around your area.
It's, yeah, this is dust. This is dust and mold. Alright, bad test.
Failed experiment. Well, what do you really don't notice any changes at all?
Did you?
Yeah. I noticed like that I sweat less.
Yeah, no, I do sweat less.
Okay, next one. Boobies. Nipple buds.
What
They
about 'em?
happen very early. They're one of the first changes. You will get buds. You will get boobs growing. Everyone's looking at your boobs now. Yeah, you cover them. What are you looking at? Don't get.
Just looks like my cock now. Look at those veins.
Tell me about boobs.
It
Tell me about them.
when
Describe them in very extreme detail. In fact, just show. It'll be easy.
got it. Yeah, okay.
No. To me. Oh. Wow.
I took raloxifene for a while, which
Yeah.
inhibits like estrogen receptors in the breast because I didn't really know if I wanted that because I started it without knowing if I'd do it forever. But I wasn't on that until like a month in. I had a hairband on my sofa downstairs and it fell about that far right there, and I reacted like someone kicked me in the nuts. It was just like just it hurts so bad, and this weighs nothing.
What about now?
If they're sensitive, but they're fine.
Yeah?
Don't. Well, I'm still kind of 50-50 on it.
You don't know if you want them?
I don't know.
What if they just happen?
Then they happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an odd one.
Yeah.
That's on the still figuring it out thing.
Just be as confusing as possible for as long as possible.
Yeah.
Hair.
So much better.
Your hair change?
Hair, so much better.
Like body hair and head hair?
Zero difference with body hair for me.
I don't know. I don't remember that being an early change. I remember the earliest being boobs and skin and just not much happening for a really long time. But what about like head hair?
Head hair has been like smoother.
Ooh.
Yeah. I think the same thing happens with a lot of people where they start doing like and then they also fix a bunch of other aspects in their life. They start taking
Yeah.
care of themselves a bit more. And that same thing happened with me. So I was like, okay, if I'm doing this, then I may as well get better hair products or something. Like I should learn about it or get better skincare. So I like started seeing a dermatologist and stuff.
That's where I have you beat, because for the first year of my estrogen, I did not look after myself at
Ooh.
all. I drank a lot of alcohol and I ate a lot of takeout.
Weirdly enough, mental health got
Yeah.
a lot better.
That's good. That's awesome.
Yeah. I used to just, if I had a bad thought or something like
Yeah.
that, I'd just spiral.
Really?
Over one thing.
Get upset or like angry or like what?
Like one bad thing and
Yeah.
then everything now is bad. Or like
Really?
you get angry
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
Like I'd hit stuff all the
It's a
time.
lot more frustrating. And how do you feel now?
Not that.
Do you feel more emotional?
Yeah.
Do you cry more? Are you more of a
Mother-
baby?
I cried yesterday.
Yeah. I went from what you said of that, like
Yeah.
things being stressful, intense, and negative emotions, to I'm a bit of a baby, and I'll get upset, and you have like a deeper breadth of emotions, right?
She is a little bit of a baby, I can confirm. Oh baby, oh little thing, come here, little thing.
For a lot of people, it's like, I want to die. I'm gonna take this. My life gets better, but it's not really like that for you.
No.
Like you don't need it to live. You just would prefer life this way.
Yeah.
So what? It's a more chill approach.
But like, I just went from just like the ability to just stare at a wall and just, can you hear the drums of just stress and like anger of like doing anything, and then now to just like, oh, la la la.
This is so cool. I wanted to talk about this stuff for ages.
I know, it's kind of nice.
Because
Right?
it's just nice to be able to like, this is a helpful trans channel, sort of. This is a weird channel. You could have had such good insight the whole time.
You've got
could
like
have
both ends of it. Sorry, just interrupted.
Yeah,
you.
don't worry about it. It's not my channel. My name isn't on it or anything. You can do this now. You're trans, so you have a stake in this channel. You
Am I
can
trans?
offer. Yes, you're under the trans umbrella.
Oh wow, I'm so surprised.
I started HRT.
Trans?
Gender?
Now I am become trans, the destroyer of eggs.
You're the first person to say that, actually.
You're taking estrogen.
I don't know.
You're coming out.
I
You had a
don't
cold
know.
coming out
Gender-
video
I
and
don't
a
know whether
stream.
gender fluid is.
It's not your birth gender,
It's half my birth gender.
so you're half trans.
Debate it in the comments. Female bodybuilders that take testosterone to get bigger, are they not cis?
No, they are cis. Because it's gender identity. It's not physical appearance.
Exactly. But it's, oh yeah, good point.
You are trans now. This is a trans channel. We do trans stuff. You can take the lead. You're not the token cis person. You.
Oh, shit.
You could do an outro. You could take the lead.
Transgenders. They're
Hi.
Hi.
Finster back. Hi, Finster. Say hi. Say hi, Finster.
Hi. I don't know why I'm here.
Why?
Because you haven't told me.
Oh, yeah. I want to know how much you know about the drugs you're taking.
This is your egg. And this is HRT.
I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff about HRT and what it does.
Yes.
And you're going to tell me if you knew that or not. If you don't know any of them, I'm going to take your estrogen away. And I'm going to replace it with testosterone.
Finster before tea? Finster after tea.
Did you know that HRT causes spider veins?
It does?
Do you have any? Because I have
Yeah.
tons.
I got a
If you
few.
don't know, spider veins are those tiny little blood or purple, red or purple colored blue veins that you can see under your skin. They're very small.
Small veins.
They're tiny.
I didn't know that.
Do you know why?
Because it meant no.
Because it fills your blood with spiders. Estrogen dominated systems. If your body is running on estrogen like a Dodge Charger, it changes the, what are the things called?
What?
That let
This
blood,
is your quiz.
Shut up. Wait.
What's the thing called? Hold on, I'll Google that.
What lets blood into your veins? One sec. We're fact checking. Is it capillaries?
Capillaries.
I said that.
So well done, honey.
Okay, so if you have an estrogen dominated system, your capillaries get weaker. They're not as strong as testosterone dominated systems. Don't make a joke. I can see it. Don't make it. It makes your veins a little bit weaker, which means the superficial tiny veins can collapse easier.
What if I'm just like really tough and better and cool?
You are tough. You're tough and better and cool. It makes your skin see-through so you can see them all. Wow. There's like 50. So you didn't know that, so you get 0 points. Did you know that HRT can increase headaches and migraines?
I did know that one.
Why?
Because my doctor said, hey buddy, you're gonna get headaches. And I said, don't worry, I have plenty already. I gotta live with you, is why.
Why?
You said it'd be funny.
Hormone changes usually give you headaches because they're around in your system and your body's like, ouchie, ooh, my head, ow, oochie.
You see weird.
You look like if you put like young hot librarian into an AI.
And a berserk shit.
Well, we can change your outfit if you want. Okay, Asher, Finn has left, so the rule is do something funny.
Okay, one there, and one there. Looks like boobies.
Okay, Wario, let's go. Okay, so it gives you headaches. I can't believe I'm still on the second one. It gives you headaches because your hormones change and your water retention changes as well. Women hold less water.
Like a camel.
So you need to be more hydrated, like a camel, or living with Finn. Massive headaches. Did you know that HRT shrinks testicles?
I f***ing knew that one, buddy. My friend,
Your friend told you.
his name's Fim.
Finn.
Fim.
Okay.
His name's Fim.
Okay. They shrink because they produce testosterone. And without testosterone, they go to sleep. Did you know?
I was blind, I'm sorry. That's just what's happening to me for no reason.
Focus, camera. Focus, please. Someone work with me. Did you know that HRT changes your eye color?
It makes it lighter.
It does make it lighter. I don't remember exactly why, but estrogen eyes are lighter than testosterone eyes. And
Yeah.
you can tell you have very pretty, like light brown eyes. They're like much lighter in person than they are on the camera.
They're pretty. So I stare at potential mates.
But
So I got you.
did you also know that HRT changes your eye shape?
I think you've told me that because like above
It
your
changes the shape of your eye, not above your eye. It changes
Really?
the fat around here,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that your eyes they become like a little bit more almondy, I think. And it also can change the shape of the actual eye, and it can make your eyesight worse.
eye. Some of my women
That
are worse
happened to me.
drivers.
If you do one more misogynistic joke, I'm gonna make you donate to a women's shelter. Did you know you can get estrogen as an implant?
It's an implant?
As an implant, they can implant it into your arm like birth control.
Why isn't that done more?
But the UK doesn't have it because it doesn't make money. Same with injections. They don't have it because it
It's
doesn't make
always
money.
England,
I'm
isn't
pretty
it?
sure. I'm not pretty sure. I'm vaguely sure that you can get it in Australia. Perhaps.
Some of these can just be, did you know healthcare sometimes is good? And I go, what?
Get it injected into your arm, and I think it lasts like a year or more.
Damn.
And you just don't have to do anything.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
That's pretty cool, and it would be cool if we had that. But we
I know
don't.
that's a thing for testosterone.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, you
I
can
didn't
get
know
little
that.
beads put into your ass. Not like okay, well that
I know about that.
In your
HRT, despite what people think, does not change your sexuality.
yeah, what?
It does. People think it does because they start getting gay. No, because people take HRT, like male to female, and they're like,
Like, oh, I kind of like men.
and they're like, oh, it
Weird.
must be the
The
estrogen in my bones coursing through. It doesn't work like that. Otherwise, no gay people or lesbian people would ever exist. You probably already like them. You just didn't realize it.
I've heard the statement of like, oh, do you not do you not like guys, or do you not like the image of a guy, like you
Yeah.
being with a guy because you see yourself against a guy?
I told you that because that was my experience. And you've been through this too, kind of.
Yeah.
Would you have dated a guy when you were like 16?
No, because I was gay.
But now you would.
Yeah.
Oh, you cheat on me. Okay.
Doesn't necessarily imply have.
Show me your phone.
Which one?
Did you know that HRT changes orgasms? You wouldn't know because you've never had sex because you're a loser.
What the fuck? What?
HRT changes your orgasms. You go from a boy orgasm to a female orgasm, or the other way around, which if you are female to male, you're getting a worse deal, sorry. They become more full body and they take longer and do you know all pigs orgasm for like 30 seconds? Is that right? Or more? 2 minutes?
Can we take pig hormones? To come for longer.
Did you know that HRT reduces your alcohol tolerance?
Yes, I did know that because
Makes you a
I
lightweight.
noticed that.
Lightweight. You are a lightweight. Because women retain less water than men. So if you are male to female, you will have a much lower tolerance for alcohol because you have less water in your body. And you get worse hangovers. Well done, Finster.
Yeah.
You got 0 wrong. You didn't know that, so you get 0 points. And you also didn't make
So
another
smart.
misogynist joke, so you don't have to donate any money to women. Well done, Finster.
That sounds bad now.
Okay, let's address it. I need a fringe cut. I'm trying to grow my fringe out and like change my hairstyle, and that kind of involves like this. Today I'm talking about how British HRT absolutely sucks. It sucks. It's lame. It's bad. We don't have injections, and we don't have, what is it called? Implants. Foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing. I'm going to talk about the estrogen implant. In the UK, we aren't allowed to use the best form of estrogen, like one of the safest, the one that works the best, which is injections. It's not like specifically illegal, but you can't get it on the NHS and you can't get it privately. Nobody will prescribe it to you. Pharmacies are not allowed to dispense it, which means that we are left with patches, pills, gel. Those are lame ones. Pills, whilst they give you the most estrogen in one go and they're kind of the easiest because you just pop a pill every day, they are like super bad for you. It's kind of like how cis women take birth control and then like that's really bad for their body. It's on the same level as that. The first pass effect on your liver, where it goes through your liver and blasts your body with really high amounts of estrogen, is really bad for you. But the whole like oral route is bad for you. If you do like sublingual, where you put it under your tongue and let it melt, that's the same as like patches and gels in terms of safety. But I didn't know that at the time, and I just took gel. Gel is fine. I had a weird experience with it. I hated the goopiness. I hate the stickiness. I hate how you just, you have to stand there for like 5 minutes and just wait. My E levels are really good for a little while, and then I had a weird anxiety scare where one of my results was incredibly high estrogen levels, like not really possible. Ooh, camera, no, focus me, thank you. I freaked out about it and I lowered my dosage when I shouldn't have because I was a little panicky baby, and that, for some reason, I have literally no idea why, caused me to not really be able to maintain estrogen levels when I went back. 400, 500 is like the range that your estrogen level should be at for like transitioning. Cis women have like fluctuating estrogen levels, but for some reason with trans women, it's just been decided that it's better to stick in this range and maintain that. I was like on the really low end of that. I think I was at like 150, 200 or something. So then I had to switch to patches, and again, in the UK, we have really sucky patches. If you're from the US, you might be used to Estradot on the screen right here. They're tiny little things, but we have Everall on the screen right here, which are huge for no reason other than to just make us suffer. And because I was not doing very well with like transdermal estrogen, like estrogen on the skin, I had to have like 2 big patches and a tiny patch. I would change them twice a week, forever. God, it's irritating, especially if you exercise. If you exercise, they mostly just come off, and I was doing a lot of exercise, nightmarish, but my levels got good for a little bit. So I'm on ADHD medication, as I have talked about in previous videos. Part of that like whole setup was having a blood test, and I had a blood test and my estrogen levels were kind of low, 200 and something. It's actually less than my boyfriend's estrogen level. But because of that, I've had to switch again. I've had to be like, enough of this. I cannot do this. This sucks. I cannot plaster my body with giant Everol patches. I will go insane. Luckily for me, my ADHD provider is a private psychiatrist, and they said,
Hello, I can actually prescribe HRT to you. Shall we do that? Shall I prescribe HRT to you?
and because of this, I now have teeny tiny little tiny Everol patches. I will show you them in a second. I think they're all covered in grime right now because I put them on a few days ago, but they're awesome. They are tiny and I already feel a ton better, and my boobs be growing. The boobs be growing a little bit, you know? I don't know if it's psychosomatic. I don't know if I'm faking it, but they be growing. But it didn't actually stop there. I spoke to him about the previously foreshadowed thing. I've forgotten the word again. Implants. In the UK, implants are allowed, they're prescribed, but not on the NHS. I think companies don't really make them in the UK because they, if I remember correctly, they don't make money, so they just didn't do it. But they're like pretty normal in like the US and Australia. I think they're like one of the main estrogens used in Australia. I, being a little bit sneaky with my knowledge, asked him like, you know, would it be possible to try and import these things? I could use the implants. It would be less measuring on your behalf. It'd be like way easier for me. I don't think that they're like illegal. I think you're allowed to prescribe them. Could you maybe look into it for me, please? I don't know why I winked. This is completely illegal. He looked into it for me and he came back and he was like,
You know what? This is probably all good. This sounds fine. I think I can do this.
I like to bear in mind that this was incredibly expensive. I don't know how much the implants are gonna cost. I know that they last like 6 months to a year, depending on what type you get, which like kind of makes up for it cost-wise. But Jesus, like I had to switch from Gender GP to private when I found out that my estrogen was low, because Gender GP don't really even exist. They don't have like somebody you can email. The Gender GP thing in general is kind of a wreck. I don't know if it's just my experiences, but I really would recommend just jumping ship, trying to find a different place to get your HRT. Like I know there's a few places springing up recently in the UK that can offer like HRT prescriptions. But yeah, the fact that they like got rid of all their staff and they don't have anyone to answer emails and not really any way to actually contact them is nightmarish. Like if you're having a problem with your E, or your prescription in general, it can be dangerous to like not get checked up. So I had to be like, I'm gonna have to start paying for everything privately, full cost medication, and a private psychiatrist. Asha, would you consider a pay cut, perhaps? How about you edit the next little bit cheaply and I'll see if it's good.
Honey, the woke liberal trans agenda's making me poor again.
So I've had to make this horrible decision because Gender GP barely exists and it's just a horrible state in the UK right now. My only other option was try a different private provider like Gender Care, who don't provide progesterone, which I want, or go through the NHS, and I already gave up my NHS like waiting list slot because I was private when it got presented to me. It's a wreck. I really like, there are not very many options, especially if like you're struggling with the basic options. Like if the transdermal estrogen isn't working, like it really isn't for me, it just doesn't for some people, then you're kind of screwed. And like I have health anxiety. I could not take pills. I would be fearing for my life every day. So basically, I'm getting implants, which is going to be really cool, and I can't wait to talk about it and see what it's like. The only risks that I've been told that exist are it can create too much estrogen for too long, so you just really have to take frequent blood tests to know that you're not gonna replace the little implant too early. and they have to cut into your butt. It could be fun. Oh, I was supposed to show you the patches. I'm gonna show you the patches. This is how teeny tiny the like Estradot 100s are. They are a huge change because this was pretty much like one entire Everall patch. And these have been like a little lifesaver. If your levels are super low, you don't have to, like, if they're like slightly lower or like in the 200s, kind of like mine, it's not a huge deal. If your testosterone is like nuked, like mine is, it doesn't really mean very much. Testosterone gone, things will change. It just might be a little bit slow, but you're gonna want to be in that healthy range. And I need all the help I can get in the boob department. So I was very much like, let's fix this. One negative about having to go private, besides the fact that it is soul crushingly expensive, is that I have to have so many blood tests and checkups. Like my private prescriber has to follow the like NICE guidelines perfectly, otherwise, you know, it's like malpractice. And so that means a blood test every 3 months or 6 months, I can't remember. I think it's a checkup every 3 months, a blood test every 6. I guess I can't really complain too much because I might be being able to have the right estrogen levels, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to no longer be like a human sticker book. It's gonna be nice to, I don't know, I guess get my butt cut open and estrogen shoved in. I've been stood in the window and I think I'm boiling. I think I'm boiling. I think my blood is boiling. I think my brain is actually melting. I have to do my best to not touch the mic. I'm sorry, I really want... I'm just getting it out of the way. I get asked a lot if I've ever had any surgeries and what kind of surgeries I've had. And obviously, being trans, people ask a lot about like FFS or like the other surgery. You shouldn't really ask somebody about that. But I get asked about those, and you know, if I've had any kind of like facial stuff, anything, I haven't. I have not had surgeries, not because I'm against them, but because I am genuinely terrified. I am terrified of anything medical going under anesthetic recovery. It's mostly the recovery that I'm scared of things going wrong and kind of dying. I'm scared of dying or nearly dying, being in a lot of pain, any kind of suffering, anything where my life is at risk or nearly at risk, anything where the quality of my life could be reduced. I haven't had any surgeries at all, but I have had filler. That's the only thing. I don't know why that took me such a long time. I've only had filler done. I've had filler done. I've had filler. The only thing that I have had done, oh my God, I'm losing it. I love filler. It's my favorite. It's great. So I've had non-surgical cosmetic procedures. I think that's what they're called. I'm fairly confident. I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all. For some reason, those don't scare me, mostly because they can't really go badly. They have risks, but they kind of would happen in the moment and you deal with them in the moment. If you go to someone very well trained, like with surgery, nothing bad could really befall you, to be honest. Like there's still risks as with everything, but in general, they're quite a lot safer. Obviously less invasive, you don't have to go under anesthetic. Tons of reasons why they're more comfortable. You know, the recovery is like a couple of days, if not genuinely just like minutes after it stops hurting. But I kind of wanted to go through those because whilst I haven't had surgeries, I did not always look like this. I looked very different not that long ago. Like honestly, when I started doing YouTube, I looked a lot different to how I look now. Flash that up, please. Nice editor, Asher. One of my first videos that Asher edited, I looked very, very different. Not just the black hair, but like, you can see that kind of under my eyes is more sunken. My chin is different. My cheeks are different. Everything. There's tons of things that I've edited about myself just because I wanted to. I feel like it's not something people really know about all that well. Like if you're transitioning, if you're trans, you're male to female, everyone knows about FFS, like facial feminization surgery. Everyone knows that that's the way to like alter your face to feel more confident in yourself. But for me, that is not really an option. I was way too scared. So I went a different route of trying to change how I felt about myself and align that like inside outside thing. I wanted to look more feminine without having to overcome my fear, basically. The first thing that I got was lip filler. I really didn't like my lips. I used to push them out. Everyone knows about lip filler. The Kardashians get accused of it every third day. So I was very much aware of it as a process. I was really insecure going out and about in my general life, and I thought that it would improve my quality of life. And you know what? It did. It did improve my quality of life. I feel so much better having had lip filler. I feel like it really did change my facial features. I know that a lot of trans women talk about they got FFS for themselves so that they could feel comfortable. It's not really a passing thing. It was so that when they looked in the mirror, they could see something that aligned with what they expected to see. And that was the same for me with lip filler. My lips got bigger and I was like, oh shit, my face proportions make more sense. I look more feminine. I feel more comfortable in myself. And then it kind of steamrolled from there. I'm not saying that I'm a crazy filler addict or anything like that. I think I really trusted my anesthetician? Not anesthetician, that's the one I'm scared of. Aesthetician, aesthetic technician, I don't know what it means. I really trusted her. She's great. I like to yap to her about my life. And, she would always go for a really natural kind of result, and she was really good at it. Well, I think I went a good year only having lip filler. I was kind of scared to get other things. As you've seen, the changes, they were noticeable enough for me to be chilling. But then I aged. You might not know this because I am so sexy and hot and cool and sexy, but I am 26. I'm about to be 27. 3 weeks from now, I will be 27. And with age comes facial changes. And I was not a big fan of these facial changes, especially when my job and my career is be pretty online. Aging is a bit scary. So I looked into things that I could do to kind of glow up. It's difficult with transitioning alongside it because you are glowing up just from the estrogen, but then it's harder to see the actual conscious efforts that you've put in. And I feel like I have done a great job. I have glowed up so much. So here is just before July 2022. Is that right? No. July 2023. Blah. That was me. Here's me now. But I've changed so much in a year. That's crazy. I think the next thing that I had done was under eye filler. So I showed you that little clip earlier from my video, from one of my first YouTube videos, and I just really did not like how that looked. And I went to my technician lady and she told me that is just what happens with aging. This bit under your eye gets thinner and womp womp, you kind of have to live with it. Except you don't if you pay this amount of money. We'll flash them on the screen somewhere over here, maybe. In January 2024, I got under eye filler and a little bit of cheek filler. So this area here, loved it. It made me look younger and fresher. I didn't look as tired. It made me feel more confident in myself. And then the cheek filler kind of gave me more of a refined feminine appearance, but it was already building on the kind of foundation that I already had. So after lip filler, I tried something called microneedling. It's not filler. It's goddamn painful, is what it is. Microneedling is needles rolled across your face to rejuvenate the skin. And you're supposed to have multiple sessions of it. I hated it. It hurt so much, ouchie ooey. Lip filler is usually the most painful type of filler that you can get because this is a really sensitive area and you're having needles stabbed into it. It's not so bad because, they numb the area and then once they're done, it's like a sharp pain and then it's done. But with microneedling, it was a sharp pain and then a dull pain for ages. It hurt during, it hurt just after, it hurt days after. I hated it. And I got ill. I got a cold instantly. And I think that made me more sensitive. So that was a no-go for me. Not fun. Not for me. I don't like that. No more microneedling for me. I'm not going to do something if it's crazy painful. But I had a friend who got an absolutely snatched chin from chin filler. And I decided I wanted a snatched chin too. I wanted a more feminine, rounded chin because I didn't like mine at the time. It kind of was a little bit pointy. It looked too masculine for me. And, FFS was not on the cards, so I wanted to see what would happen. This is what would happen. Somewhere along this way, I also got filler here, my nasolabial fold. Nasolabial? Don't remember. It's here. It's this area here. And what that does is it pushes your kind of, this area under your nose, near your mouth forward, which makes you look more youthful. I don't know, but I always notice the difference when I get it done and I feel a lot better. That is incredibly painful. More painful than lip filler, but very, very quick. I will say that certain ones, like chin and cheeks, you do have to get very comfy with uncomfortable things. It's not surgery, but you do hear the needle scraping against your bone. That is not good. Not a lot of people can handle that, I don't think. The reason that they do this is to get it in the right place, and it makes it last longer. It's deeper in your skin. It's not going to be as disturbed. It will last a long time. Lip filler only lasts 6 months because you're talking, you're moving your lips a lot. It agitates the area. Your body processes it faster. Whereas something like under eye filler or cheek filler, not a lot of movement in those areas. They last a lot longer. Okay, under eye filler, you have to have a needle under your eye, and you have to open your eye at a certain point, or at least I did, so she could get it in the right place, so I could see the needle going under my eye. How is that easier than surgery? I have no idea. Ask my brain. Recently, I asked if I could get more under eye filler, and instead of that, because I go to a lady who wants natural, she doesn't want to put someone in a situation where they go too far and they look a bit intense or silly. She reels me in, want everything and try and, max out like beautification. So she kind of steps in and she said, we will do a skin rejuvenation thing instead. Polypeptides. That is salmon sperm. I've had fish come in my face. Oh, demonetize. That's supposed to rejuvenate your skin, and it's supposed to kind of refresh the... what are the things called? Brain, please. You're paid to do this. Collagen. It's supposed to refresh the collagen in your skin, which makes, you look more youthful, your skin look more glowy and nice and pretty, sexy, hell yeah. And that was an alternative to getting more filler because you don't want to make the area just chock full of filler and look all puffy and gross. We were kind of going for like a natural rejuvenation. I wanted a little bit of like chin filler to kind of euthanize me. I wanted a little bit of extra cheek filler to make me look a bit more youthful because there's areas of my face that only really I notice because I have to stare at myself all the time and take pretty photos. We did it on the same day. So I had cheek filler first, and then I had this like polypeptide rejuvenation thing, which is like closer to the surface of the skin. That was the most painful experience ever. No idea why. Maybe something about combining the two. The numbing serum cream thing did nothing. That was like genuine torture. Still don't mind it. I'm still going back next month. I really like it. The thing I like about these changes is that it's been over the course of a year or a bit more if you count the lip filler. So it is quite gradual. You don't have them all in one go. It is like, a little bit changes and then it gets swollen and then it dies down and a little bit changes. I think upon first glance, it's not really obvious that I've had a laundry list of things done. You'd probably be able to nab the lip filler, but some of the other ones are a bit more subtle, and I really, really like that. I like that it's just something you can build on gradually. FFS would scare me. I think that a huge change, even if it was a positive change, would really freak me out. So kind of a gradual, step by step, where I don't have to be unconscious and cut into. That's good for me. I like that a lot. Oh, didn't you know to feel like a migrate? Yeah, totally. But not really. If you go to someone professional, there is a very small chance of that. I do not want to hear, well, actually, because I have looked into it. Shut up. This is my decision. Do not take this as like, you should go and do this. You really should do research into it. I have done lots of research into it. I have OCD, so I get a bit obsessive about my research into things that could harm me. I have done a lot of research into it and I know that it is right for me and I am comfortable with any of the associated risks. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about this because I do genuinely get asked a lot if I've had, surgeries, and it feels weird to be like, no, because it's not something that's bad. It's not something to not have. I just wanted to put them out there and make them known. I don't even know how many people know about all this stuff because it's just, I'd never heard of cheek filler, even though it sounds basic. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know under eye filler was a thing, or chin filler. I really did not know about the salmon couple. I was gonna do the whole intro from that little swing seat thing. This is horrible. I didn't realize I would look that silly, or it would be that difficult. Okay, alright, none of that. Somebody is gonna touch my boob today. Okay, first off, I got new glasses. Hell yeah. How much smarter do they make me look? I feel at least 1,000,000,000% smarter. I wanted to present that information to you in the weirdest way possible. Somebody's gonna touch my boob today. I will say that it is a professional doctor, not professional boob toucher.
Well, yes, both actually.
So I don't think I've ever actually said this to anybody before, and never ever on this channel, but I'm trans. Asha, can you supercut like every time I've ever said that? I've been growing my little gals out for not that long, 4 years. It means that I lived a lot of time without them. They're not exactly killing it, so it's not like I have a lot to live with now, but it is different. One of the things that's different is you gotta regularly check them. You gotta check them yourself for weird stuff. Stuff that shouldn't be there. Lumps, bumps, pennies, whatever shouldn't be there. And I found a lump recently, and it's a new one. And so I'm going to get checked out today, and I am not really scared, I don't think. I know it seems scary to be like, I found a new lump, but like, most of the time they're just like cysts. Not cysts. From the feel of it, it seems fine and not anything to be scared of. I did think it would be best to get a professional to do it, mostly because of my health anxiety, mostly because it's the smart thing to do. I'm gonna take these off because they're for long distance, not like short to mid, and I can't see anything. Do I look different now? Do I look weird? Because I feel really cross-eyed. I don't know if I am or if I'm just not able to see. I have my glasses on, I have my hair up, and you just think that I'm like just a nerd, like art student, and then I'm like, oh, I f***ed my fringe up. The mic has been muted the whole time. Fantastic. It'll just be a bit weird audio for a little bit there. Sorry. I'm going to a GP today, and they're gonna all squeeze and touch and grab, and we're gonna see what that's about. I wanted to talk a little bit about the kind of experience, because if you're trans, you probably don't have much experience in this, like I don't. So I'm gonna kind of film now, which is before my appointment, which is in like 2 hours. And then I'm gonna film, not during, I'm gonna film after, talk about what it was like, what I learned. You might think that trans women don't have breast cancer risk, which would be dumb, because we do. If I told you, a baby trans person, and you are, to check your whatevers, if you're in like the first year or two of HRT, it's gonna feel a bit weird and bumpy. There's gonna be hard little nubs, little buds. They're the breast buds where everything blossoms from. And those are quite, you know, solid. And I still have those. So that kind of gives me false hope that they're gonna be growing and pogging out. So you might be a bit confused that those are like dangerous lumps. They're not, they're just the breast bud, they're just what's happening. They're I don't know. You need to get any new lumps checked out. So 2 to 3 years in, when you're comfortable with the gals, when you know what they're about, when you pat them down in the shower and you know they're, you know, pretty much done with what they're supposed to be doing, you can kind of get a feel for whether there's anything new that has popped up. And my thing scared me, and a friend, I got a friend to feel as well. Very awkwardly pat my boob. It wasn't Ben, right? It was a female friend, before anyone gets weird. And she was like, yeah, I would get that checked out. But it is important to do that. And I don't think a lot of trans women really get kind of taught about this, really, or like what to do. Because when you are like a cis woman and you're growing up and you're in your teenage years, you get taught a lot of stuff about like breast cancer and what to check for and all the, and like cervical cancer and all that stuff. And then, you know, guys will be taught about like testicular cancer and butt cancer, prostate cancer. When you transition, you're not really like given a pamphlet on like these updated things, like these are the new things you need to look out for. You have to learn all that stuff yourself, and where better to learn it than from someone on YouTube with a new pair of glasses and a phone. The NHS in the UK has literally a little website that tells you how to check your boobies. You can't see this, but trust me, what to look out for when checking your breast or chest. A lump or swelling in your breast, chest, or armpit. Gotta check the chest and armpit too. A change in the skin, such as dimpling, redness, that notes that it may be harder to see on black or brown skin. A change in size or shape. See, if you're on HRT, they be doing that shit all the time. That's why I kind of said you need like 2 to 3 years, maybe even more, to kind of really get a gauge on it. Nipple discharge which may have blood in it. A change in the shape or look of your nipple, such as it turning inwards, or a rash, sores or ulcers on your chest. It says here that your breasts may naturally look and feel different at different points in your menstrual cycle, which is something we don't have to deal with, while you're pregnant or breastfeeding after menopause. So yeah, you need to get a good understanding of what your boobs are supposed to be like before you can start rooting around in them and checking that everything's all right. If it was just like a little bit of a lump, I probably would have just ignored it as like, they're just doing their thing. They're just growing. Because I'm only like 4 years in, which sounds like a long time, but isn't really. The breast can grow for like 7+ anecdotally. I think in cis women, they grow for like up to 10 years. So it would make sense that with trans women, that's the same thing. I'm gonna put these on so I go back to being smart. I will say like, it's not something I'm super conscious of, even though I know this stuff. I'm not like really on it with like checking them and like thinking that anything bad could happen. It's something to be aware of, and now I will, because I've experienced this. You are probably sitting at home like, nah, I do that shit all the time. I'm way ahead of you, Icky. You probably are. Mini bolognese, smolanaise, can you turn the camera off for me? That was done. Hi, hello. I'm interrupting this video to film an ad for me for this channel. It's for Patreon. I debated for a little while actually starting a Patreon for the channel, but Asha kept emailing me about like needing to eat and needing to pay bills and rent, and I just kind of thought they deserve to be paid. I thought about it for a little bit and I was like, if I'm doing more safe for work content, if I'm doing more content that is not nudes, then there should be safer work ways to support me, you know, for people that want to support the channel, want to support Ash's editing, all that stuff, and keep it going without having to look at me naked. I'm kind of worried that people are gonna think that I'm using Patreon money to like fund my lifestyle or something. That's not gonna happen. The money is gonna go to the channel. It means that I can create more content. The way that I'm looking at it is, if I now have a paid Patreon account, I can do an extra video, which is exactly what I'm gonna do on the Patreon every week. I'm gonna edit it because Asher is busy, so do not expect anything fancy. But there's gonna be an extra video, 20 minutes to an hour of me just kind of yapping. It's kind of like a podcast. I put it down as like a little podcast video. It'll be more personal. It'll be less like PR content creator. It'll be more personal to my life, or just whatever the hell is going on that I want to talk about. And being paid to do that means that I can block out time in my diary. Otherwise, all of my time would have to be spent doing adult content, because that's what funds everything else, and I would have to stick to that, and then I wouldn't be able to do any of this stuff, which I really, really enjoy. So having people support it in like a safer work way, I can put more time and energy into it, and I can do more fun stuff, and I can not stress about, you know, oh, this is taking away from the thing that actually pays my bills. So that'll be cool. You'll love it. It'll be great. There's a little chat in there. You get access to the Discord. You get Ick early. And there's even a crazy tier where you get like 25% off Ick for forever, I think. Please check it out, even if you just have a little look-see. And thank you for watching this. And now go back to the real video. I'm back. I thought I would sit on the floor and join you all, because you guys are on the floor. I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience going to I guess like not like a proper breast exam, but like a doctor touching my boobs. Oh, I got the weird shoes on. I know you'll love the weird shoes. Being trans, it's kind of freaky, you know? Like, the doctor that I have is an older fellow, and I don't know how chill he is with the whole trans thing. The damn liberals. He seemed fine, obviously. Like, he's very nice to me and very professional. There is no hint of anything like that, but just in my head, in my side of things, I'm kind of like, ugh, is this making him uncomfortable? I think my therapist would really like that. That I'm in a GP appointment and I'm more worried about my doctor being uncomfortable than I am my own health. I got my little boobie out and she killed it. She did great. I quote, I'm not super worried. That's good. That's a good thing. I am going for like further testing, like an ultrasound and etc. Something about a needle and local anesthetic, which kind of freaked me out, and maybe I'd stop listening because of that. I'm gonna go and have a boobie scan just to double check, really make sure that it's not anything super, super bad. My doctor said that they were not worried. but you know, better to be safe than sorry. And I would like to be safe, please. I feel like being a trans woman is like a recipe for kind of ignoring medical issues because of situations like this. Like I felt kind of spooked about getting, you know, semi-naked in front of a doctor who knew I was trans and asked me about, you know, my HRT medications, just because I know that the general consensus is not always super psyched on trans women. And, you know, it can be a bit scary. Because of that anxiety, I probably would put off things that could be less serious. And I'm not sure if any of you have ever done this, but it does really seem like a recipe for like, I don't know how my doctor's going to react. So maybe I'm just not going to go because I don't want to, you know. One thing I don't think I've ever talked about, early into my transition, early a year or two, I had to go in for something downstairs. I had an issue down there. I had to go and get like a little scan thing. And I remember being like really freaked out and not wanting to do it. I also remember being in the waiting room because at the time it was like, you know, I was on the NHS. So I was just having an NHS appointment. I also remember one of the nurses reading out that it's like, oh, Miss Ashley, blah, 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 testicle something. And like having a little giggle about that and being like, oh, that's really funny. And like, I kind of get it, sure. Like, haha, that's funny. What was stupid about it was that they were in like the waiting room. They were stood in the waiting room at like the nurse's station, like receptionist area, making that little joke to themselves and to the other nurse who did not respond. Very inappropriate. That sucked. And the person I was dating at the time absolutely went and chewed them out whilst I was in my appointment, which was nice of them. The whole appointment at the time went well, but that situation sucked and I felt kind of sucky for the rest of the day. And, you know, I still think about it now sometimes. That's probably shaped my understanding of like how professional these situations actually are. You know, you'd think that a hospital would be kind of chill with all kinds of situations, and maybe they were new and maybe they needed to learn etiquette. Maybe they were young. But that definitely put like a sour taste in my mouth for how like immature even a professional setting can be. Maybe that's, I would like to say it's just England, but I know that it isn't. I know it'd probably be everywhere. It's nice to have a good doctor. It's nice to have someone to look after you that is completely chill with things and doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, doesn't ask any uncomfortable questions. I felt like a cis woman, and I'm being referred to like a women's, you know, health center, like for my breast exam. Hell yeah. I'm glad that nothing weird happened or I was made to feel like I did not belong. I'm very happy about that. We'll have to see how the rest of this situation goes. I'm sure I'm chilling. I am on the floor. All of the video is not going to take place here on the floor. I just need to get this intro out, otherwise I don't think I'll start. I recently tried ADHD medication and it really, really helped me. It was like seeing the world in color for the first time, but that was merely a test and I am no longer on ADHD medication, so I am sorry. I'll probably go off track. I'm sorry to my editor.
It's fine. I've got this icky back on trackinator button. All I need to do is press it and then...
Today's video is about voice training. It is widely requested. It's like one of the most requested videos that I've ever had, really. So I'm going to talk about voice training and how I did it and hopefully fill you with confidence. I also have some new clothes that I ordered and I'm going to try them on to kill two birds with one stone. So the main thing I get asked is, how did I voice train? What did I do? How do I sound like this? And how can people sound like I do? I think people think voice training is like, you have to have expensive lessons and you have to commit like 6 months to a year of your life where you kind of train every day and you have to do exercises that can be quite complicated, but I didn't have that experience. I did it in my own little unique way. I'm also trying on clothes. I bought a bunch of summery pieces from a shop called Tank Air. Here is one of them. I love this. This is really nice. I'm gonna be trying these on whilst I ramble about voice training. I don't have very good control over my voice. I cannot sing. So if you think that you need like a perfect singing voice to be able to voice train, you definitely do not. I was really worried about that. And I was worried that because I couldn't hit high notes or any notes, that I wouldn't actually be able to have a feminine voice, but it turns out it doesn't matter. I used a YouTube creator to voice train. I use trans voice lessons on YouTube. If you haven't seen them, go to trans voice lessons. I think they do like either a website or Patreon or something, but they're awesome. I use their videos to help with the kind of technique that you need to voice train, because you do need to learn something. You can't just raw dog it, I don't think. You do need to know a little tiny bit. I just want to show off that I am slaying right now. Queen. God, that was cringe. I learned how to raise my larynx, which is where, I don't know how to explain it better than that. I already explained it in the sentence. You are very conscious about raising it whilst you're talking so that you can hit like a more feminine pitch. And when you first start, it's a little bit rough. It's difficult to find a comfortable sound. It does sound really uncomfortable, but I use those techniques. I did the heat from fire, fire from heat, which really kind of helps you like really focus on the sounds. I did not go very in depth. I did not study too hard. I watched like 2 or 3 videos on the subject and then practice, I would say, for less than a week. And this isn't me saying like, after a week I nailed it, I am perfect. No, I just practiced for a week and then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna apply this to every single conversation I have forever. It was like when I move in with my friends at university, we had like a shared accommodation. And I was decided that when I moved there into the shared house, that would be my time to do my social transition. And then I'd also commit to my voice training. And my commitment wasn't like, I will commit to practicing. It was, I will commit. However my voice sounds now after I've learned, I will just apply that. I will use that voice every day. That is my new voice, just like I was in my new identity and my new gender and my new pronouns. I kind of just went all in. Low-key, another slay. Had to get out there. I think, to be honest, I just really wanted to commit. I just wanted to be like, this is my new life and this is what I'm doing now. And I just really wanted to get it over with. I was quite good, and I am quite good at like doing the difficult bit at the start to then reap the rewards later. This t-shirt is compressing all of my organs together. I ordered a large for this very fear. So my practice came in the form of like conversation with people out of the person I was dating at the time, with my friends, with family, with, you know, university tutors, everybody. No actual like specific practicing, maybe like the heat from fire, fire from heat as like a warm-up, like a vocal warm-up to get started for the day. But I never really did the exercises again, like the larynx raising exercises or anything like that. They kind of became natural the more I used my voice. To be honest, this was kind of like trial by fire. It meant that my voice did not pass for a really long time, where I was either intoxicated or really tired, like early in the morning, or ill. My voice would be really deep. I wouldn't have that control over it. It was a really, really conscious effort. I would have to try really hard to kind of keep it in that female range and the female pitch, sounding nice. Lots of things could interrupt that. You know, if I had to answer the door to the postman, I'd be hiding behind the door because it just, you know, it was cringe. It was difficult. You know, for a little while, it felt a bit fake because I would have to put it on. I would have to try. Then suddenly, one day, I was a year into my transition. I moved into a new apartment and I woke up early in the morning and I answered the door and I sounded like this. I was like, oh my God, like it's sticking now. And it just kind of became easy. It became natural. It's not something I have to think about anymore. Going back into my real regular outfit now. So it's not like I did anything particularly crazy. I just kind of committed. I just kind of did the same thing I did with my social transition and outfits where I went for it. And I didn't kind of put it off or, you know, not try and think about it because I knew the earlier I started, the better it would be. There are some key things that you can focus on early to try and get there quicker. Focusing on your resonance of your voice from being in your chest. So when your voice is a deeper pitch, you can feel it in your chest vibrates. And if you can move that up into like the back of your mouth, the top of your throat, it's a more feminine sound, it's softer. Another thing to add to really kind of make your voice sound much more feminine, much more quickly, is fluctuating pitch. So the opposite of like a monotonous flat voice, you kind of you know, you go up and down in your speech, and that can make you sound a lot more feminine. If I'm in a stressful situation outside where I want to kind of really hardcore pass, I will focus on fluctuating my voice and going higher at the end of my sentences and like, you know, really making sure that I'm like,
Hi, how are you? Are you okay?
and really making it at the top of my throat and mouth. And yeah, but when I'm at home, I'm kind of like, sometimes like,
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. How are you?
it's very down here and it's not too much effort. Progress is not always linear. However, the more you do it, the better you'll get. You know, you can drop back on your voice training and feel like you're losing progress, but you most likely are not. It's the same with everything. If you keep at it, it will go well, you'll get better. And the kind of best thing about it is that you're using muscles that can be trained, and that's why it becomes natural, because you are training those muscles. I have lost my old voice. I can make my voice go kind of deep, I think. It's not like I can just kind of drop the act and go back to my old really bassy voice. I can, that's kind of bassy, I guess. Like, I can't do it. It takes physical effort. I would have to unlearn the things that I have learned. My old voice is dead. If you do like your original voice, you have to practice that. You'll have to practice both ends of the spectrum and be able to like have the deep bassy and that, you know, softer, like more feminine pitch. But if you don't care, that's great news. I didn't care. I'm happy to be like this. I love my voice. I don't know enough about voice training, so you really should check out like Trans Voice Lessons or other creators that can actually teach you the real technical stuff that I don't know. But that is what I did, and hopefully this helps you realize that it's maybe not quite as complicated as you thought, and you could have a good chance at doing it. Hi, I'm Icky. Wait, shush, shush. Everyone calm, quiet down, quiet down. We got a new bunny family member. This is Arabiata, or B for short. You can call her B because she's red and spicy, like the pasta dish. All my bunnies are named after pasta dishes or types of pasta. Here's my outfit. Here's a fit check. I'm wearing the Yeti thingy. You cannot hear me because I'm far away, but that's fine. Don't worry about it. Today's video is on everybody's favorite topic. It's your favorite topic. It's my favorite topic. We're talking about voice training. Everybody loves voice training. You probably hate it, to be honest with you, and you're probably watching this video kind of mad because the title is probably something a little bit baity and you're probably already irritated. I'm sorry, it's just what I do. This isn't about how to voice train. I've already made a video about how to voice train. It is right here. You can't click it because that's very old school YouTube, but you can see it and Google it like your ancestors did before you. I'm gonna talk about why you should stop putting off voice training. You should just do it. Do it! Because I know, like, a lot of people in my audience are putting off voice training. I've heard it every time I talk about it on stream, every time I talk about it in any kind of video or anything. I have people who just say that they're putting it off because they don't want to. They don't want that smoke. They can't stand the heat. They think it's too hard, or they're just gonna do it in the future. And I'm here to tell you something that is probably gonna annoy you, but hopefully inspire you. The time passes anyway. You may as well just do it. The time passes anyway. It's gonna go no matter what, so you might as well do it. I heard this about something else in life. I just heard it about just life in general, about any kind of hobby, any kind of passion, anything that you need to do in life. And it really resonated with me. It hit quite hard. It's kind of a really cute sentiment. For me personally, I love all that stuff. I love spieling off like helpful little weird sentences to my friends that they're either like, shut up, or they're like, you know what? Actually, that was very helpful. I don't know. I live and die by seeing random meme template thingies on Instagram that just say like, you know, all there is today. And I'm like, yeah, all there is today. And then it just changes my entire outlook forever. It's pretty self-explanatory to start with. The time is gonna pass anyway. If you decide right now, I'm gonna start voice training, and then you do it, in a year, you'll probably be pretty good at it. It took me about a year to get really comfortable with it. And then, you know, it just develops from there. However, if you say at this point, I'm gonna start voice training in the future, and then in a year, you still haven't done it, you could have used that year, you know? That's time gone. It's gonna go on anyway. You can't really stop it. You may as well just start now. All of those days that you're spending putting off and being like, you know, I will start tomorrow, is extra time that you're not getting to that destination. The thing about voice training is it just kind of takes practice. I think for me personally, in my own experience and the things I tell to other people, the hardest bit about it is just the practice. You have to practice in everyday life kind of all the time. The more you practice, the easier it gets for you, the easier it gets for your throat muscles, the easier it is for your friends and family to kind of adjust and it to be normal, and the easier it is for you to find it normal. I will admit, it is pretty damn scary. It's scary starting. It's scary to be like, hi, people in my life who I love and value. I'm gonna change my voice. You're gonna have to get used to it. I'm not gonna be used to it. It's gonna be a bit messy, but that's life, you know? And then once you do that, it is here and you've started. And then every day will happen. And eventually you will be here on this other thing in my hand, which is the future, where people, they're used to it. They no longer care that maybe it was awkward at the start or a little bit cringe or whatever. They are just used to it. And then for you personally, that is your new voice and you are comfortable with it. You are used to it and you are, you know, at a point where it's easy and it's natural and you don't have to really try, which is kind of what happens with me and a lot of my friends. Now, I mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it again. I didn't do professional voice training. I didn't go to any lessons or anything like that. I learned through like YouTube videos, like trans voice lessons, and just you have to find like the kind of, there is an action that you have to perform to like raise your larynx and like raise the pitch of your voice. I don't remember what that is because it's been like 4 years, but I learned that and I was not very good at it. But I went, fuck it. I'm just gonna apply this to my everyday life. I'm socially transitioning. I've told my family, I've told my friends. As soon as I moved, because I socially transitioned, like when I moved into my shared house with friends at the final year of university, it was COVID, so I didn't have to go out a ton, which was kind of fortunate for me, but I did have my closest friends right there, which is kind of scary. And I decided like, when I move and I move in with them, that is when I will socially transition. That's when it will start. So I may as well just commit to the voice too. And it was like the best thing I ever did, okay? It started bad and difficult. We would drink alcohol because we are British and we are uni students, and it would affect my voice and I would no longer be able to have that higher pitch. Or I would wake up in the morning and I would sound very low. Or I would, you know, just not be able to do it when I needed it, you know? It just wouldn't, you know, it wasn't natural. But the more I did it, the more natural it became. It took like 6 months for me to be able to nail it in day-to-day life, like on the phone. I would get gendered as female in phone calls. But there was still that thing of like, if I was dehydrated or if I'd woken up earlier or I'd just woken up, I would not be able to do it. And then it took like, you know, another 6 months, so a year. And then I could just do it all the time. And I kind of heard it and felt it become more natural over time. I experienced that and like took note of it as it was happening. I was like, oh my God, like I just realized like it's been a few weeks and this is just, I just wake up like this. This is just my voice now. And that really just comes from practice, just doing it over and over again, making it your voice. So instead of it being like a feminine voice that you're trying, a female voice, a new voice, anything like that, it is just now your voice, okay? And it is growing along with you as you are growing. So you'll be figuring out fashion. You'll have some terrible fits, like I had some terrible fits. Edisa, please put in a terrible fit of mine. Yeah, so you'll be developing your fashion, you'll be developing your makeup, your hair, all kinds of things, your entire personality, really. A lot of things will change. And along with that, you're going to develop your voice too. It's only natural. Although it does suck, a transition is a slow process. It is not a race. It is a transition. Which takes time and effort, and it is not overnight as much as we all wish that it could be. If you got good friends, good family, good support, they will support you in this and you won't feel out of place. It is just a second puberty, and puberty is kind of cringe. No matter what you do, the time is going to go on anyway. Whether you start now or you start in a week, that week is going to pass. You may as well just kind of get to it now. I'm not saying that you have to do what I did and just fully commit immediately. That's a bit scary, you know? Not everyone can handle that. But you can use this time to practice with the time that you have, you know? If you got an hour a day doom scrolling, maybe you could have half an hour a day doom scrolling and half an hour practicing, so each time it gets a little bit easier. I will say, if you're committing to transitioning and you're going like full social pronouns, everything, I would just commit to the voice too, because it's the quickest way to get where you want to be, to get to a natural voice. It is the kind of most difficult way, because you are just doing the difficult part of just like, all right, this is me now, fuck it. But it is the fastest, and some people are into that. I was into that. If I could take estrogen faster, I would have. If there was a way to speedrun it, I would have done that too. I kind of went like full force with everything just to get it out of the way, because I wanted people to take me seriously, which, you know, is a bit lame that I felt that was necessary. But I'm grateful that I did it, because it meant getting the awkward part out kind of early. Again, with the time passing thing, it may be, you know, cringe now, it may be difficult, but in 4 years, you will barely remember it. Like me. I've been on HRT for like 4 years, I think. I think it's been 4. I'm pretty sure it's been 4. And I do not remember the start. I remember practicing the larynx raised technique thing in a field once. I was on a walk and I was trying to practice because I thought it was cringe. I don't really remember anything else. I don't remember how uncomfortable the first few months were. I don't remember the first year or second year for any other reason than it's just been long enough now. I haven't lived like a long time as a woman, but I've lived long enough that this is my present. You know, I don't really remember the before times all that much. I just kind of remember now and how I have interactions with people now and how I sound like and how people treat me. And, you know, I've kind of forgotten all of the difficult stuff because time carries on anyway. I'm sure I was having a bad first, 6 months to a year. I'm sure it was terrible. I remember not thinking I passed until like 2 years in, right? But I'm so grateful that I carried on doing it, because now I get to here, which is just enjoying life and just being me and having all these opportunities and experiences that I wouldn't get to have if I kind of pushed it down and didn't put the legwork in at the start to get to this point, or I was too afraid to kind of be a little cringe. And trust me, I was very cringe because I was doing all of this whilst also starting social media, so a lot of it was very public. It's archived now. You can't find it. Don't even try. God, I hope it's archived. I hope I did that. Boo! Oh my god. I'm interrupting the video because I'm doing an ad. Hi, please can you go sub to my Patreon? You get, or YouTube channel memberships. You get the little audio podcast, video podcast thingy that I do by myself right now. It's called Hi, and it's every Thursday, including this Thursday. And you will get some behind the scenes stuff in the future. I'm going to be doing some behind the scenes of IC and just life in general. Ben is going to be a very cool cameraman for me, and it just helps support the channel because of the other content that I do. I don't get like normal ads or anything, so this would really help me out. You guys are great. Thank you. Go back to the video now. Bye. Bye. Go. Go. There are tons of helpful videos online teaching you actually how to voice train rather than me just kind of yelling at you that you should. There are also, if you can afford it or you have the opportunity, professional classes or just people that can teach you like face-to-face or online or whatever, and that's supposed to be really helpful too. I am here to say that you can do it without those things. Maybe not without the lessons, you probably just, need to learn how, but you can do it without professional lessons, and you can do it without any real control of your voice. I did not think I was going to have a passing voice at all. My original plan was to just get hot enough so that my voice didn't matter at all. I kind of just thought like, I will never be able to do it. I can't sing. I have no vocal control whatsoever. I would just get so hot that I would just be this androgynous baddie and no one will even question me. It turns out voice training is actually easier than I thought, and it's just practice. It is just a muscle that you can train like all your other muscles. Like this, but for your voice. Grr. I just want to say you do not have to voice train. There is absolutely no necessity. It is completely valid not to. This is just for people who want to and are just holding themselves back. Please don't type mean things in the comments, okay? I'm on your side. We're on the same team, the trans team. To see how bisexual we can get with it. This is ridiculous. I have unlocked a new area, which is odd because I usually film in the one room. I'm in the Finster room right now. I'm in porch. I'm in the bedroom. It is not the new house. This is a hotel. But it's a very pretty hotel. And I'm sat very awkwardly in this chair because of the big cushion. I feel like a therapy office. I feel like I'm gonna give you therapy. This is why being trans is the only way to live.
Stop it, please, I beg you!
My video today is on what a transition even is, because I got a completely insane comment. I got a comment on YouTube that said, are you going to be a guy after 40? Because there's changes that would make it hard to be feminine. I don't know what that means. I think they were thinking of twink death. Like, the older I get, the more masculine I'll get. I'll be big and strong and hulking. On top of that, there are people who take HRT way past 40. They just look like women. To get it out of the way early, you do not need HRT or a medical transition to be trans and to be valid. However, in this conversation, I'm talking a lot about what HRT does and how it changes you, because those are the things not a lot of people know about, and those are the biggest changes. Changing your gender non-medically is an internal thing, and there's not much external change that people can notice or not notice. So the video is mostly going to be about that, but it is not necessary. Some people don't really know what a transition is, what HRT is, what even happens. I think the general consensus for the average person who knows nothing about it is it's just a coat of pink paint. A lot of people still think it's just like plastic boobies and a wig, and that's your transition. And because that's what was shown on television many, many years ago, and that's kind of the general vibe of what people think happens when you transition. It's more of a costume than it is a deep change, but I got some news for you. It changes on a cellular level. Childhood biology in school is that, you know, you are a boy with boy hormones or a girl with girl hormones. But humans are actually very similar, and our cells are ran by hormones. That's kind of what keeps us going. But our cells are kind of more like gray building blocks than they are blue or pink. They can be molded. That's how a transition can happen. Your body becomes estrogen dominated or testosterone dominated, and it starts changing your secondary sex characteristics based on whichever woman is the most dominant. So that's why if you were born male, you can have boobs and soft skin and long hair and like thick hair and you know, eye shape changes, all the changes you can expect from HRT. The reason they can happen is because we're pretty similar, you know. Man and woman is a lot closer than you think. I'm sure I mentioned this a few times, but I have a PDF available on my Instagram in my link tree, which is free to download, and it is all the effects that I personally researched and could find of HRT, and it goes through like the Wikipedia ones of like the basic ones people know, that, you know, breast growth and fertility changes and orgasms, all the fun stuff, and then I go into the more detailed ones, which I think I pretty much have gone through on this channel now and in this video. It changes so many things about you that are not just surface level. I released a video recently about the weird changes, or the things that Finn didn't know about that are just strange little changes, and there are tons and tons of those. It changes your personality, not in a deep way. That's kind of a difficult one because it's also more like how you fit into society, how you see yourself, but it definitely does change your personality a little bit, because it changes your brain chemistry. It makes, if you take estrogen, it makes you more compassionate and caring, and you feel things deeper, and you're less angry. If you're taking testosterone, kind of just do the reverse of what I'm saying here, which sounds kind of bad, but you get soft skin, you get like silky, thicker hair. It reverses like male pattern baldness some or most of the time. If you don't have hair, I don't think it will grow it back, but it can reverse like hairline. Definitely it can give you a better hairline, or not better, but a more feminine hairline. It changes the way that you smell. It changes the way that you smell things and taste things, not just how you smell to others, but how you interpret smells and tastes and colors. You see things more vividly. It'll make you weaker. Your muscles will get weaker. You will retain less water in your body. You will usually get shorter because the ligaments in between your muscles and bones shrink. It changes your eye color. It can change how well it or how badly you see things. If you're worried a little bit, because I know that these videos can worry people and make them think that HRT is really scary when there's a change that they weren't expecting. But it's not. Depending on how you take the medication, if you go for the safest options, which is like the transdermal, which is on your skin, or the injections, if you can have those in your country, if you're fortunate enough, then the health effects are very minimal. You will have similar health effects to cis women. There's no like particular evil trans HRT disease that you will get. The only issue off the top of my head is blood clots from too much estrogen in the liver, which is like from pills, where the liver has to work too hard and it can cause blood clots, or issues from AAs, so your anti-androgens, your testosterone blockers. They can sometimes cause issues. You have to have kidney tests if you take certain ones, but there are ones you can take that don't have to do that. I take one called decapeptyl in the UK, which is is that right? I think so. No. I take one in the UK called... God, I should know this. I take something called triptorelin, which is a butt injection, and there are no issues with that. I've had no health effects from it, and it blocks T incredibly well. If you decide to take HRT, then that's done. You will only get more and more feminine. A transition can take over 10 years. It's like puberty. You're told initially that the first changes are in the first 3 years, and that's true. The fastest changes happen in the first 3 years. So after 3 years, that is pretty much what you will be like going forward. There will be no crazy mega changes. Your mileage may vary, but there will still be changes. Like there's been evidence of boobs growing for up to 10 years. Like everything will keep changing. You will keep feminizing, basically. You are a woman now. I know that I get flack for my stance on like the word passing and how I think that it can kind of demean people. People think that because I am passing, I'm very privileged, and I understand that. I am. But it wasn't always like this. HRT worked its magic, and I had to put a lot of personal effort in, because my first like year and a half, 2 years was horrible, and I did not think I was in a good position to transition at all, and it just worked its magic. I know so much about this stupid process that I love talking about it, and I kind of just wanted to reassure you, if you are transitioning or thinking of transitioning, there is no cutoff point. There's no like secret masculinization going on behind the scenes. Like you take the girl juice, you're girl now. But I thought that's important to know, and to help try and educate, and to film a solo icky video in this pretty hotel room, because I don't get to a lot. Hopefully the next icky video will be in the new house. Thank you for watching, for once again listening to me rant about HRT and transitioning, because I just want to help people to feel confident in their experiences and not put it off. And all you people in the comments.
Okay, I heard one bad thing. Time to hide now.
I got you, eggs, and you will crack. I am the final boss. It's like a Dark Souls battle between me and you, and I will break that egg. Thank you. This is gonna be the most scuffed episode ever. This is the only piece of furniture that I have. Did you put your light on?
I get it.
Amazing. Hi, Ben. Say hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
Wait, I've got rid of my usual LGBT co-hosts and I've replaced them with a cis, white, straight guy.
It's a really hard time to tell you that I'm trans.
You have experience with the topic of today, which is, I don't want to say dealing, but dealing with people in your life transitioning.
Yeah.
You've had me and another close person in your life transition.
I had another friend who became non-binary as well. And that was...
Yeah, that's 3.
Yeah.
I think you're doing it to people.
It might be kind of a radius thing.
I kind of want us to talk about your experiences, because we've been friends since school.
13 years,
Yeah.
I feel like.
That's a long time. And I transitioned 4 years ago
Next, you transitioned during the pandemic, didn't you?
because of the chemicals in the water. In a ratio, that's, mostly you've known me one way, and then very recently another. What was it like?
Like, you were the first person, I think,
To ever transition.
to ever. I think you were the first.
Hell yeah. Being a camera and a mic in front of you, probably scared to say something like that is considered wrong or like rude or whatever. But I'd like to know like actually how it went. Like, I'm sure it was difficult. I'm sure it was not like the easiest thing to initially come to terms with, especially being the first person in your life that is trans.
I mean, you had kind of a progression, if I remember, from, was it gender fluid?
Yeah.
And then
But that was quite a quick progression, in my opinion.
the gender fluid thing kind of like bridged a bit of the
Right.
gap. I mean, in terms of like, I understood that you were having gender... I'm trying to think of a word that doesn't sound...
Issues.
Gender issues.
Gender
yeah.
issues. That helped you to kind of like ease in slightly that this is something.
To me, it very much did like feel a bit like the pieces start to add up from other stuff that you told me over. And sometimes when other people have revealed to me that, they are transitioning or stuff,
Yeah.
there is kind of like, oh, okay. But then afterwards you're like, how was that?
There was that one thing that didn't make any sense. And now it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, you know what? This actually does kind of all add up. I was surrounded by pretty much entirely at the time cis people. So I hadn't really ever, had the experience of, the pronoun changing and kind of getting used to it. I didn't think much about the kind of trans community back then, but, sorry, I am a liberal. I know, disgusting. What we say on this? Cut it. I wasn't being told something that I had any kind of thing against.
Yeah.
It would just be kind of an adjustment period, but that's also kind of life. Like, people go through stuff and change, and ultimately if they're still the same people that you love and you still have the same kind of connections, that change doesn't erase that.
How long did it take you to shift in your brain?
You mean like having to like correct it in my brain to like it being the default?
Yeah, I've got to remind myself to get this right so I don't upset this person, to this is just this person.
I think it was a bit longer for you than with other people because you're always first. And I think during lockdown, because I didn't see you that much, I would like mess up with the pronouns quite a bit at the start. But when I saw you, it was very easy to have that change. I think seeing is believing in a way of like, once you see a person kind of making that change, it's a lot easier for your brain to reprogram. So
some anti-boy motor talk right there. You know who you are.
I'm sometimes a bit of a Ted Mosby in that I just tell stories a lot from my past constantly. And it would be there where I trip up because a lot of those stories, initially, my memory of you was a different pronoun.
Yeah.
Like initially I was like, is this going to be something I'm going to have to constantly be kind of like editing in my brain? But it doesn't.
Forever.
It doesn't do that.
Were you saying I've like erased the past?
It's kind of like retcons the past.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Like it's now when I like see those memories, it's kind of like re-editing how you look at those memories.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about you, like past memories, I think of how you are now in those memories, even if they were like in school. I think your brain just does that naturally anyway. The only one that upset me ever was like 2 years in, when you made stuff up when you were drunk. 2 years in seems like a long time, but it isn't. I'm completely different 4 years in than I was 2 years in. It'd be a hell of a lot harder to do it now than then, even though at the time I felt like I was so different.
Yeah, I mean, for you, I guess it's like you're 2 years in, but there is at that time 9 years of memory of the old. So it's kind of balancing that out, but it does balance out quicker than you would think. It's not like
Yeah, it's not nice.
you don't have to go through the amount of time
Yeah.
you've spent.
And you didn't mean anything bad by it, and it didn't mean that that's how you saw me either. But that's the bit that I think I would be insecure about.
I think that was another example of telling a past story.
That was exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, and brain just
it's fine.
farted essentially.
In terms of my representation, I would say that I'm like very, very binary. I went from like one right to the other.
Yeah.
It was like a switch. Easy. You've mentioned that someone in your life came out as non-binary. Is that maybe a bit harder to kind of figure out as someone who doesn't know very much about the trans community in general?
That one, there wasn't that much visual difference.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, they already dressed fairly androgynously.
Right.
So having to use the pronoun they, there for everything, it is a bit more of a like out of lane field than just kind of getting used to. I mean,
for some people. To be fair, I quite like those pronouns accidentally. I use they, them to describe a lot of people in my life without thinking about it. And I've done it forever. I don't know why.
I remember having like a discussion with a person and they were like, I don't get it. I've never used they or their. And I'm like, so if you didn't know the gender of a person.
Yeah.
And who was like, coming to the house, how would you refer to me? And they were like, I'd always know. That's the worst mutant power ever. Imagine being on Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants. And they're like, the X-Men are coming. I know the gender ratio.
I know the gender of all of them.
Do you know who they are? No.
Do you know their powers? Do you know that? Nope, but I know their genitals.
Yeah, sometimes there are weird hills that people die on. But for the other person I know, largely everyone in their life, even though there might have been some like teething troubles, I guess, very quickly got on the idea of this is a person we care and love about, so let's support them.
One thing that is nice is that it didn't affect our friendship, and it has affected other friendships, definitely, I think, where I've become less close with people.
What I liked about you is not gender specific.
Yeah.
So you know the personality, well, there might be some changes over transitioning. The things I like about you, the hobbies we share and the things we laugh about. That didn't change.
They didn't transition. We just added boobs, which sounds cool.
Yes, to be fair, if the trans community should just market that more.
Yeah.
So just adding boobs to things.
No, we didn't have like particularly masculine conversations.
Oh, tits. Nice.
In general, the dynamic has changed. I'm very aware that you were a guy. I'm sure you were very aware that I am a girl when we were hanging out.
It changes certain things, like not just how you perceive it, but how you think other people will.
You've been called my boyfriend a few times by like waitstaff. What was that thing last week after we were at the office?
Which you took more personally than I had.
So we were like at the ick office doing work all day, and then I wanted to go to a restaurant. We went to a restaurant, I ate some food, and then the waitstaff thought that we were like a couple. And as we were leaving, she complimented me, and then she like negged you.
Yeah, she was like, you're very lucky to have her.
And then you went, and then after you walked past her, you were like, no, I'm not implying you got like annoyed about it. Well, and then I took offense.
I was like, maybe I didn't have to need luck. You don't know that. You don't know I had to pray to the gods of fate.
Oh my god. Yeah, so the dynamic does change. It's not like we act exactly the same as we did. You like walk me home after the office and stuff. Because even outside of like being trans, I'm now a woman, so I'm another dangerous category to exist in.
It's,
which is not something that you would have done before. But things do change. That is important.
Yeah.
To know, because the point of this video is that people ask me a lot, like,
I am friends and family of somebody. How do I best like deal with this? How do I best make them feel comfortable or safe or things like that?
It is important to know that things are going to change. It's not going to be 100%. If someone tells you they're transitioning, it's not that person is like dead and gone and will never come back, but it is a big change, and they are going to be different, which seems pretty daunting. But
there will be sometimes, especially if it's one of more, your earlier introductions into somebody in your life transitioning, there will be a certain element of you've got to put some effort into this.
Yeah.
You've got to take some time to actually process this and how you think and articulate about it. But once you've met one trans person, you've met them all. That's not what I mean.
So do you have any advice?
You'll be surprised how if people like you, like really actually care about you and like you,
Yeah.
they will want you to stick around and they will want to put the effort in. That's for the side of the people who are transitioning, kind of want to,
Yeah.
about telling friends. I can't tell you that there wouldn't be some interactions, I'm sure you know.
Some people will dip, but it's for the best. Definitely.
Yeah, I've found a lot of the times the people who care so much about what you do with your appearance and your life,
Yeah.
and it has to fit their viewpoint, otherwise they don't want to be around you, they're probably not going to stick around for too much longer anyway.
It'll
Or
be something
grey.
else. Yeah, they're just unhappy.
Yeah.
If it's not that, it's something else.
Don't get something else down the line where they're
Yeah.
like, why can't you just constantly be what I want you to be? Which is weird.
What about people struggling to accept someone in their life as trans? Because you, as I said, are just making people trans. It just doesn't, every second week there's someone else that you
maybe
become trans somehow.
I've just had to get okay with it because, eventually
Keeps
I'm going to
happening.
be the last cis man.
Compared to the average person, you've had to come to terms with people being trans in your life quite a lot. So if you ever weren't okay with it, you had to very quickly learn.
You have to put a bit of effort in, of on your end, making the effort to use the right pronouns, even in for your thoughts as well. It's not just how you vocalize it, it's how you think it. And then by a certain point, which
still becomes natural.
There's a slight level of concern, not for I don't want you to do this, but go I now reveal that you are part of a demographic that's not having the best time right now in terms of how certain people view you. If you're struggling with that concern, accept that you can't, again, control people's life and keep them into certain categories to make you feel better.
Yeah.
You just have to support them the best that you can.
My mom has nailed it. She hasn't messed up ever, really, to be honest. Even my grandparents, who are currently struggling with their memories. The only difference in my life now is that every time I go to a family event, multiple people say how brave I am.
I was about to ask, is it the brave thing?
It's the brave thing. Here is your progressive cis... Wait. Yeah, here is your progressive award, cis man, for being so progressive. Well done, you. Ta-da! I think I set it up. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really see. Hi. Tank is running around the floor, if you can hear him. Do you want to say hi? You want to say hi, baby? You want to say hi? He does not want to say hi. Sorry. There was a brief interlude there where the camera died. Tank is in the garden. I tried to show him to you, but you did not take. But now the darling is in the garden, being sweet. And I can see him whilst I shoot my video, so if my vision goes across, I'm very sorry, but I'm trying to look after my puppy. If he just chased his tail for the first time, that was really cute. What is Icky talking about today? What is Icky ever talking about? It's trans stuff. Imagine if I was just one day hey, I'm here to talk to you about politics. I don't know anything else about anything else. But the camera should be a bit lower, so I lowered it. I hope that's okay with you. I am talking about T for T and what T for T is, why it exists, why maybe you would want to do it, I guess, or just kind of explaining it and its purpose in the world. Initially, you might not know what T for T stands for. You might not know what T for T stands for off the bat. That is very hard to keep repeating. It stands for trans. It's a dating term for people who are trans who want to date other people that just so happen to be trans. I think, to me personally, it's kind of obvious why it exists, but maybe to you or other people it's not. It is kind of a safety thing. Being part of a community, people in that community understand you the best, most of the time. And so sometimes cis people aren't very nice. Not you, if you're cis, but the other ones. Sometimes they're not very nice. And you can want the safety of someone who is going through the exact same situation as you. I have lost my puppy. He's there, it's fine. Is pretty much the first reason. The reason that this exists and that people are into this and is a thing is because the trans experience is so difficult to explain. It's very hard for cis people to understand it. And, if it was easy for cis people to understand it, I think there'd be a lot less hateful people. It's very, very hard to get across how your gender identity doesn't match your existence, or how you don't feel comfortable in your body, or how you want to be different and that your brain is different. It's really hard to get that across in a way that is relatable. Cis people will understand it. It's a pretty easy concept, you know, brain doesn't match body, but they don't feel it. They've never experienced it. They have only ever been comfortable in their body. So, you know, it's like almost impossible to be relatable in that situation. It can be easier to date someone who's going through exactly what you're going through. They are transitioning at whatever stage compared to you. They've had roughly the same thoughts, feelings, a lot of similar experiences. It's just reassuring, and you get like a deeper understanding. Not to say that, you know, if you have a cis partner, they're not going to understand you. They will do their best. And, you know, you can still have like a deep connected relationship. I'm not saying anything like that. Into the next point as to why it kind of follows on. Sex and dysphoria could be, you know, mitigated, reduced, a lot easier to handle when it's to trans people compared to compared to a trans and a cis person. You know, if you are a trans lesbian, and you want to date girls, dating cis girls could make you incredibly dysphoric. It could be difficult. It could just be not very fun because the women that you date could expect a different role than what you're happy to play. And dating a trans woman whilst being a trans woman, or dating a trans man whilst being a trans man, it provides you that comfort that you both, you know, are more open to talk about it. You know your role. I'm so sorry, my puppy's staring at me. Hold on. You may see him in the background, probably. Hi, buddy. Anyway, I'm so sorry for this. This is a mess. This is the first time that I'm looking after him completely on my own. You know, I'm a single mom right now. It's difficult. Dating somebody that's trans whilst being trans, whether you're a trans man dating a trans woman, trans man dating a trans man, trans woman dating a trans woman, non-binary dating everybody, I don't know, whatever role, whatever, you know, relationship that you want, it can be a little bit more comfortable, a little bit easier to attain in like a queer relationship or a trans relationship. I say trans like it's a fight. I am kind of in a T for T relationship. I am technically dating a cis guy, but technically in the same way that a tomato is technically a fruit. You know, and to be honest, it has been quite a lot easier than other relationships. I've dated a cis guy, and that was a lot more dysphoria-inducing. I was a lot more stressed all the time, and this is kind of a lot easier. I don't have to worry about how I look as a woman when my boyfriend is a girl. It provides like a different level of comfort. I can't really explain it fully. It's just, you lose a lot of that like ingrained judgment. Like, I'm not saying all cis people are judgmental, they are definitely not, and they are great. You can find people who try very hard to understand you and have great relationships. But, you know, if they've not dated a trans person before, you're their, you know, first time, or they just don't have much experience in general, it can be difficult, and they can have, you know, ingrained negative connotations of what trans people are, or what to expect from you. And to be honest, it's understandable, because trans people have those ingrained negative connotations anyway, because all of media is that we are evil and horrible, and I wrote notes. I'm a note writer now. I've turned over a new leaf being a mum. I am way more prepared. I am not prepared. One day maybe I'll write a script. Wouldn't that be cool if I just come at you with a script? I think it would be weird, and it wouldn't really fit the vibe. I kind of like that these are personal and we have a little break to be silly. Well, I'd be silly. You probably just sit there getting annoyed that I'm not hurrying up. For my last video, some people put in the comments and were wondering that does being T for T or only wanting to date trans people as a trans person make you a chaser? No, it doesn't. Mostly for the reasons I've outlined. You're not dating that person just because they're trans, but you feel comfortable with them because they're trans. You still need to love them or like them. You need to like their personality and, you know, all the other normal relationship things. But because they have the fundamental similarity to you, you feel safer. It's not like a chaser vibe where they want to fuck you because you're transgender. Safety can be a really big part of this, you know, like feeling safe dating people who are trans. Obviously, it's not going to be 100% safe. Nothing is 100% safe, but on average, if you go on a date with a random trans person, it's probably going to be a lot safer than a stranger cis person who's like sliding in your DMs and stuff. There is just more of a mutual understanding, and this doesn't just happen with trans people. There are plenty of, you know, communities that like to stick within their own communities, which is completely fine and valid, because like I said, you get a better understanding and there is like just an initial connection already. You have a lot to talk about and share. I am very happy in my honorary T for T relationship, even though it technically is not, and you know, I'll take the L if it isn't, but it's cool. I like it. It's you know, there's a lot of understanding. There's a lot of like comfort that I wasn't awarded in previous relationships. Not that it was the fault of anyone I was dating. It was more of a me thing, and it's completely fine to just be a you thing. It doesn't have to be that your partner is, or like your previous partners or people you go on dates with are like not doing enough to make you feel comfortable. It can just be that you just don't feel comfortable. You know, being trans is a very vulnerable thing, especially like if you're early on. I would still say that I'm early in my transition. 3 years is not very long. It's, you know, I'm adjusting. I feel like a baby. And it's nice to date somebody who has some experience, even slightly, with screwing around with their gender, even if it's just things like strange looks in public or making you feel comfortable about your body or not making things a big deal. You know, sometimes there's people who can go out of their way to make things like okay, like this, like make you feel fine about something that you otherwise wouldn't think about. I think that's everything. I think I did it. I think I talked about everything there is to know. I feel like there maybe is more things, but I don't know them, and maybe that means they don't matter. No. Put in the comments some stuff about T for T if you've experienced it that could help other people who are thinking about this, or just your random thoughts, because you will anyway, but try to make them nice. Usually you make them nice, and I like that. It's fun. Oh, Icky, don't touch the mic. We can hear all the mic noises, Icky. We can hear every time you touch it. What about now, huh? I can do whatever I damn well please to the mic, huh? It's because I got a new mic. It's on and up. I've started streaming now. This is my little stream area back here. I stream here on YouTube. I stream on Mondays and Fridays at 6 p.m. in the UK. Wow, I turned the start of video into an ad. Capitalism. If you can hear the weather outside on the mic, I am very sorry. I think there's like some kind of storm or something. It's very windy, and unlike what conservatives think, I do not control the weather. Yet. I wanted to talk today about regretting transitioning. Will you, tiny egg watching my YouTube video who is wondering whether or not they should transition, actually regret transitioning if you decide to go along with it? I'm not talking like that statistic that goes around of like, you know, if you get bottom surgery, there's a percentage. We are more talking anecdotal, lived experiences, my experiences, and interactions that I've had with people on how they feel about their transition. Before we like get into the video, I probably should show you my fit, because you're gonna be wondering what the hell is going on here. I'm dressing down, okay? We can't always have it on. I can't always have it on. But today I have it on. I received this comment on YouTube. Ex-trans woman here. What I'm about to say is gonna get a lot of hate, but I must warn anyone thinking of taking HRT. In the long run, you're gonna regret ever doing it. There will come the time when you slowly realize the gravity of the situation. As you get old, you won't feel so pretty or appealing. You want to start a family as a guy. The urge is only natural. Your mindset will start changing, but you know very well you can't change what's been done. Even though doing everything possible to look pretty like women feel like a woman, the very essence of your manhood will never truly go away. Insecurity will go through the roof. You'll hate looking in the mirror. Many trans women like me who regrets everything that we did, but we can't do anything about it, so we force ourselves to be happy and seem content. And I hate to admit, often I encourage people who are thinking of transitioning so that I can feel less lonely and feel less bad about my decision. Now I'm currently detransitioning. That is a psyop. I do not believe that this is a real person. I feel like this is a very conservative psyop comment that seems to happen a lot, because conservatives in certain countries are very obsessed with trans people and are very obsessed with the idea that you're going to regret transitioning and that it has this crazy high regret rate. Maybe that is somebody's lived experience, but it very much does not seem like a real lived experience, mostly because of the misogyny. You'll get old and you won't feel so pretty or appealing. Come on. Women have to be pretty and appealing, and the only way that you can feel happy in your gender is to be pretty and appealing. I know nobody likes aging and like losing their looks and stuff, but that is not the only reason to transition. You don't transition just to be hot. You transition to feel at one with yourself, like just to feel like a person. I already talked in a previous video about whether I would stop HRT when I'm 40, if I'll detransition at 40, because of a similar comment. And I said there, no, I'm not going to. In that comment saying that HRT is permanent, it isn't. If you're female to male, that is a little different because it will change like bone structure and like facial hair and you know, you'll have to do voice training again. The only permanent part of HRT for like male to female is breast growth. You know, you'll have them things on you forever. I actually had a doctor tell me that. They said, you know, you have your breasts forever. And for some reason that was weirdly ominous. Spoilers for this video right now. I do not regret my transition at all. It is one of the best things that I've ever done. I am very often like proud of past me for being able to have the courage to go through with this like scary ass thing and get it done so that current day me can just live happily. Like I really appreciate that I managed to do that. Past me rocks. Just to say, like off the bat, this does not mean that people don't regret their transition. There are definitely people out there that exist that have started transitioning and then decided that it was the wrong thing for them, which is fine. There should be nothing wrong with that. It should be completely fine to explore your gender identity and then decide, oopsie, I made an error and I'm gonna go back. It shouldn't be detransition versus transition. Just because you didn't like it and it wasn't for you doesn't mean that other people are gonna be the same way. That is the exact same with transitioning. Just because it was the right choice for you, it doesn't mean that you can push that onto other people. That is the whole egg prime directive. I clock in to my weekly shift to the egg crushing factory, and I'm still not telling you to transition. It is entirely your decision. You cannot interfere with the egg prime directive. You just let nature take its course. I know a lot of trans people doing this online as like a job. I've met and spoken to a fair few trans people, and I do not know anybody that regrets their transition. The most is that some people change their identity over time. They go from like being very binary to very non-binary, or for like, you know, just being quite gender fluid. They decide that, you know, as they grow as a person, their identity grows with them. But I don't know anybody that actually regrets making the step to transition and to be the person that they felt they should be. The one thing that I do hear a lot with my friends and myself, I think this, is there are a lot of people that regret not transitioning sooner. If you asked me, like, I am having very egg thoughts, I don't feel like I am the correct gender identity, I feel like the way I look is not how I want to express, hitting all the signs. Do you think I am more likely to regret transitioning and taking HRT, or regret not transitioning sooner, like putting it off and waiting? I think that you are more likely to regret not transitioning sooner. And I'm not saying that that means that if you have one thought of transitioning that you should like jump straight to hormones and stuff. You do need to be sure before you commit to something like that. It is a big commitment, but you can transition in other ways. You can change your pronouns. You can talk to your friends about it. You can experiment with the way that you express yourself without actually taking HRT. You know, it can be clothing, it can be personality changes, styling your hair, do voice training or something, anything. I think that you are much more likely to regret putting off your transition. And now I'm not saying like taking 6 months to think about it, because that's smart, you know, take as much time as you need. I'm saying like people who very much know that they want to and they should, but maybe they're a bit too scared and then they put it off for 10 years. The way that I have seen transitioning play out in life is like that movie It Follows. That's being trans. In my experience, you just can't bury it. It will follow you. It's coming for you. Whether you put it off for 5, 10, 15 years, those feelings will come up again. They will rear their head to you. It's not something you could kind of pushed down, because a lot of the science is that being trans is genetic, it is biological, it is in your brain. It is not something you can therapy out of you. You can't just ignore it. It is very common for people to wish that they could start when they were under 18, obviously, like before puberty. That is a very hot topic and very difficult right now. I don't want to get into it, but a lot of trans people, myself included, wish that they could start sooner. Some of the time I am dysphoric and I wish that I could have started HRT before I went through male puberty so that life would be easier. Bonk. A large portion of the time I'm kind of chilling with it. I wish I could have started earlier, so maybe my hips grow a bit more. My hips can widen if you're like early 20s. I think I was 23 when I started, and my hip bones haven't changed. It would have been nice to have changes like that, or just to make life a bit easier for yourself by having, you know, a pre-puberty transition. But a lot of the time, I really like the woman that I am, and even though I have these like challenges of not being a cis woman, I think that they make me me, and that makes me very interesting. I have seen a fair bunch of trans people who transitioned later in life who were so happy that they finally decided to do it after putting it off, that they, you know, it didn't even matter. Like all of those changes that they aren't going to get, they don't even care about, because they're just so happy that they finally had the courage to do it. If you are fortunate enough to be in a position to transition earlier in your life, like I was, I think putting it off for 5-10 years is only going to make you have regrets in the future. And then if you decide to take your HRT and it's a year in and you don't really like what's happening, you can stop. And you can stop, and the changes will go back, and everything will more than likely go back to how it was before. There have been a lot of detransitioners. I actually don't know if there's been a lot.
Hey, Ash the Editor here, coming at you with some stats on detransitioning. On the National Library of Medicine, which is a .gov website, there's an overview of multiple studies on detransitioning. Several of the studies are noted as flawed due to selection bias or inadequate classification. But the biggest and most comprehensive study, covering 27,715 transgender individuals and a whopping 300-page document, cites a total of 8% of respondents having detransitioned either temporarily or permanently. Reasons for their detransition varied from pressure from a parent, partner, friend, family member, employer, medical professional, or religious counsellor, the transitioning process being too difficult, facing discrimination and harassment, and trouble getting a job. Only 5% stated that their detransition was a result of realising that transitioning wasn't for them, which accounts overall for a total of 0.4% of participants. Back to you, Ashley.
Obviously, talking about this stuff is very nuanced, and there's all kinds of layers to it, of like your age or like your mental capacity or what kind of position that you're in life or how long the feelings have been around. There is too much, okay? Talking about this is probably going to be a huge dumpster fire for me, but whatever. I already survived the libs of TikTok thing. I got this in the bag too. Maybe that guy is going to react to my video again. Who knows? But I think it is important to talk about. I don't think that you're likely to regret transitioning as much as you're likely to regret putting it off for too long and pretending to be somebody that you're not. It's not, am I trans? It's, am I in a position to accept that I am trans right now? Because obviously it's a lot. There are tons of changes that come with it, and it is scary to tell your friends and family. It is very easy for me, 4 years in, to sit and be like, you should just do this thing. It's going to make you happier. But then you should kind of take away from that on the opposite side. Like, I am so far away from all of that beginning point that I now have perspective. Telling my friends and family and starting HRT and learning how to dress and learning how to do my hair and learning makeup, all of that stuff was very hard. I mean, I loved it at the time. I was psyched about it. I was really happy that I got to do it. But yeah, it was difficult. It was a difficult thing to do. I do know what it's like now for my family to correctly gender me all the time and treat me like the woman that I am. I know what it's like to meet new people and have them know the real me rather than, you know, have to put up a front and just be uncomfortable. No matter how hard and scary it was for me at the time, I would do it 1,000 times over to get to where I am right now. Baby,
It's me on YouTube.
Yeah, you haven't been on my YouTube channel ever.
Oh, I've been stalking. If you look really hard, you'll see me in one of the old videos. I'm watching through the window, like.
And we have a whole body for people to view. Hello, hi, I'm in your house.
Hello, you
were
are in
kind
my
enough to let me
house.
stay over. I was in your basement, scratching at the walls.
I don't think you are.
I actually woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep. And I feel like your house is cursed because you always message me about your insane sleep schedule.
No, I've always
did
been
it.
like this. Maybe I am the curse.
But you're here and we're gonna do a pros and cons of being trans, which I think is hilarious. Because I didn't prep you.
No.
And now you're stressed about having a list.
I am a little
And that's
stressed.
how
I got
I
like a tiny list.
That's how I like to do my YouTube videos.
Is that why they're so
Yeah. Yeah, you can. I think that cons are a bit easier.
Yes.
There's so many right now.
There's a lot of cons, and mostly it's referring to the
Other people.
social climate currently,
Yeah.
the political climate.
Politics.
Yeah, it would be ridiculous to say that trans people are not stigmatized against. Here's the pro, you will be happier, most likely. You will
Yes.
be a lot happier in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing it did for me. Obviously, transition isn't just like an easy gotcha, like, oh wow, my depression is gone, I'm 100% like perfect now. You know, transitioning isn't the cure for everyone, but obviously it's a really helpful thing for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah, so you're saying pro made you happier.
Pro, it made me happier,
made
and
you-
it made me not want to die. So
Is that the same pro or is that two separate pros?
I think that's the same pro.
Happier, not want to die.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I feel that. I had that too.
Yeah.
I didn't want to die, but
I kind of wanted to. I wanted to die a little bit.
Oh.
Only
Well, I'm glad you did.
only like part time, not full time.
Okay, so then we could just cut in with a con, which is having a hot dog.
What?
That's a con for me. I don't like that because then I can't wear certain items of clothing. That is a personal con.
It's obviously
No, I
bottom
don't.
story is a very like variable thing.
Yeah, but that's mine.
For me, I'm like, you know, hashtag I'm gonna keep my sausage. But, like, you know, it's different for everyone. Some people like get this thing off me now, which obviously I
Yeah.
completely understand. Like I would deny that like I've had those feelings in the past.
It can just be kind of annoying. It gets in the way.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little cumbersome. It's a bit of a, you know, I'm not talking.
I have a nuanced one, but I think that being AMAB provides you with like more opportunities to have like hobbies. Like you were allowed to explore more things as a kid generally than like an AFAB kid. It's some sort of like strange like dating unfair advantage. Like if you date guys as a trans woman, like you'd be like, oh yeah, I read that comic. And they're like, well, what?
You read? What?
You don't just paint your nails? Like
Yeah.
maybe I mean it in that context. It's like you get like a weird like unfair advantage.
Yeah.
With like impressing men specifically, which is not that cool now that I put it out.
Unfortunately, I wouldn't agree with you that because I think there's still a lot of this very
Yeah.
much like even still now,
Yeah.
very much these like gender norms that are still being like
Really?
reinforced certain things. But yeah, I know that even the current generation coming up, there are still these kind of things where obviously a kid who's a bit feminine, they will get picked on. And it's insane to me how it's not really. I mean, it's definitely got better in some places.
I hope
but in some places it's got worse. Yeah, I still think that a lot of it is still poopy. But I think that's just the way the
Still
world.
poopy.
That's my doomer take. So the other one is that post transition, I know myself better, and in a very very short amount of time in the
Yeah,
past
you
2-3
speed
years.
run.
Yeah.
Getting to know yourself.
And
know what you're about.
there's so many bits you figure out some, you know, you'll slip up and be like, well, that wasn't me. You know, you figure it out. I just feel a lot more like, oh yeah, that's me.
Every year feels like growth for me, to be honest. I feel like
Yeah,
I was the
I-
same for a while and then transitioned and like every year was different.
Yeah, I've definitely had some like dips. the peaks, the growths are really good.
I feel like it just the growth from like when you first start transitioning to like a few years in, it's just like monumental. Like
Yeah.
baby trans phase to like current day is like an insane change.
I don't
like
want to think about.
I've showed my like pink outfits and stuff. Don't laugh at me.
I never had a pink outfit phase.
Really?
No, because I was
I'm
never
hard
like.
on pink outfits.
I've always never liked the color pink. I'm sorry if people who hate me for saying that.
But that growth is crazy.
I've shown
Like-
one or two, yeah.
I never would have had that if I didn't transition. I never would have had that like step up in everything.
But yeah, now you're like.
Am I getting
I
compliments?
think you are sexy. I've told Ashley this a lot. I do look up to her a lot because
No,
she's
never
very like on it. Even if that may not be a complete great reflection of behind the scenes. I have another con. Obviously,
Do
just
it.
societal stuff, isn't it? It's I don't think we
Society. There's a cat trying to give their opinion.
You can come in.
You're inviting cats in. Come on. Give your opinion on trans people. He's a cis male, right?
I think he is.
ultimate
I don't
opinion
think
on trans
Gorby is
people.
trans.
I think the society stuff, like, I would never like, use it as a reason for I would never tell somebody, like, you shouldn't transition because of this.
No, but you can't deny that it's tough, especially tougher in certain countries, certain areas,
Yes.
than it is for us.
Okay, that's the truth.
And that's, unfortunately for some people it's just, like, they can't transition. The fact is that you have to even bear in mind before doing something that, like, oh yeah, I might be a danger here, which sucks.
Yeah,
Some
like,
people
you can't
might
go
be.
to, like, Dubai or anything. You know?
I'm not
like,
fussed.
No, I know, but it's just like, you just can't. If you're like, oh,
Yes.
that looks cool, I want to go on holiday there. No.
Like, gonna see a friend in Florida.
Yes.
But obviously, it's like,
Can't go to
they
Florida.
really don't like me there. A lot of people don't like me there.
I didn't even know the
There's
reason.
bathroom bans, and they're
Crazy.
very crazy. They're very anti-trans in Florida.
Oh, gosh.
I'm sorry about this. I have to
No, don't worry about
babysit this little child.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's it's genuinely crazy. It's just, you just can't do certain things.
I mean, I
anymore,
could
you know?
go there. I know
You
and
could.
like my friends told me, yeah, you'd be fine. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, but like I've seen a lot of stuff that
You don't
made me
wanna
feel
miss
like I wouldn't be fine. Recently, there was a volleyball player there who was trans. Never went for female puberty, whatever. And I think like her mum lost her job. She got like doxed. The police came to her house
Yeah.
about it just because she was trans and didn't. It's just like insane.
Yeah.
Like it was just that like they're truly insane over there. I'm not
Funny
saying
to
all
like
of
this
you are,
country.
but there are definitely some
All
crazy.
of you are. Certain areas you have to prioritize safety
Yeah.
over, but
It sucks to even be saying that. It's
Yes.
really stupid, but yeah.
But hopefully it changes. We're just in a bad
I think we're in a
time.
bad
It's
time.
getting better. Slowly. That's always backsteps. Like 2017, like people didn't care about trans women.
No, they were
No one cared.
like they were cheering about it at the Tory conference
Yeah, this
about
is just a
self ID.
short- Yeah. it's
So
we are just in a bad patch, and we'll come around.
we'll see.
There'll be and unfortunately there'll be a new hot topic minority that will take over, which is kind of a bummer.
They'll target cats who piss on the bed. Yeah, because Gorby needs to really sort
You
his.
explain the law.
Oh, so basically we did a stream. I think Gorby got a bit panicked, and then he pissed on the sofa. Ever since then, he's been occasionally pissing on the bed, basically because he prefers fabrics to litter. We did talk to the vets about it. They said there's nothing they can really do. They've checked him. There's nothing physically wrong with him. Obviously, he's got something mentally wrong. He's sick in the head. Like he needs to sort his life out.
One of my favorite things about my videos is how off track I can get. Like,
Oh yeah,
them.
yeah.
So I'm gonna do this with more people and see how off track I can get them from the original topic.
That's a great idea. Don't worry about that.
The biggest pro is the fact is that it was life-changing for me. It's made me a lot happier. I'm a lot happier. And obviously all these cons, they suck, but it wouldn't stop me from transitioning.
Yeah, I do.
Like,
I do.
I
Yeah,
would,
100 times.
if my country was like telling me to, oh, you suck, trans people, I would
Stay
get
out.
out because like, I'd rather be trans and be me than, do it because of a con.
Yeah,
It's just, sorry if I've gone off on a rant,
No.
but like, I feel like my trans identity is more important to me
Yes.
than staying in like a certain country.
As difficult as it was, I would do it like 1,000 times over.
Yeah, it's like, I wouldn't deny that it sucked.
If I knew it got to this point, hell yeah.
Oh yeah, you're like, you're slay.
So are you.
You're slay.
We're gonna sorry, no, we can do it. I didn't see, I wasn't looking. We can do it if you want.
Oh, would it be cool if I could just cry on command?
Yeah, can you not do that?
No.
You.
Can you?
Oh, can we do it again?
Now cry.
I can't cry. I don't want to say, I don't know if it's like an insult, but you kind of look like the person who could cry on command.
That was kind of like gender euphoria, where it's like insulting,
Yeah.
but like in a nice way.
Yeah, you look like you're bad at sports.
Holy crap. You watched the entire thing. That is insane. Congratulations! Woo! You're trans now. Or at least you've got all the information to be a trans. I gotta stop saying that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Studio, you should go buy some clothes if you haven't been brainwashed by the